Hey, in the immortal words of Judy Brown, happiness is a choice. And we're happy you're spending some time with us, Chip and Zay, right here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Holding it down on the Midday on an overreaction Monday. Lots going on, obviously. We've had college football playoffs. We've had NFL playoffs. Zay, I think you were cooking there for a minute on your picks. You might still be cooking. I don't think you've gotten one wrong.
Come on, man.
What?
Let's go. When it matters. Forget all the regular season stuff. I'm a postseason guy. When it matters.
5-0 so far.
All right.
What?
Yeah. Feeling good, feeling great. Chip, how are
man. You? So I'm talking about. Yeah.
No, it's a good weekend. Good weekend. A lot of good sports going on, obviously. When we left here on Friday, Texas football still trying to figure things out. Everybody wanted Brandon Harris' head. Whatnot. Steve Sarkisian, everything was moving so slow. And now it's Monday, the weekend shook up the whole nation.
Now Texas number one in the portal.
Wow.
Because they got their guy, the one and only Cam Coleman. I love this. This guy, he changes everything. Because you got a guy who's 6'3", he's elastic, he's plays way bigger than even that. He plays above the rim. You know, if we're talking basketball terms, he plays above the rim. And that's, you know, that's what you want. He can play out of the slot. He can play outside. He's got great competitive fire. He is your red zone target. He is a contested catch machine. And yeah, from what we've heard, Ryan Wingo is good with this. And if he's smart, he's really good with it, because Cam Coleman takes all the pressure off of him, creates more favorable matchups for Ryan Wingo, and Emmett Mosley too. So, yeah, I mean, just go watch his highlights. Just go to YouTube and watch his highlights from 2025. There's like 6 contested catches in the end zone against like South Alabama and Mercer, but also against OU, Alabama, Vanderbilt. So, you know, this guy, you know, and he picked Texas over Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Alabama. We talked about it last week. Alabama wanted him so bad they named Auburn's, you know, former offensive coordinator as their receivers coach on Wednesday before he came to visit Tuscaloosa on Friday. So the word, you know, and I said this last week, the word was if he wanted money, he'd go somewhere else. But if he wanted a chance to play with a quarterback who could really elevate his game, then, you know, he would go to Texas and maybe Texas Tech if you're a big Brennan Sorsby believer. But Alabama looking for a new quarterback. Texas A&M has Marcel Reed. Marcel Reed had a good year, but he's, you know, down the field, and that down the field is where Cam Coleman really cooks. I mean, he's a guy who can stretch the field, and that's the other thing. I mean, we know how much Steve Sarkisian loves to stretch the field, and we know Arch Manning can sling it. So we talked about Texas going all in for Arch Manning and Colin Simmons' likely final years at Texas. Now you've got in Cam Coleman, a guy who is also his likely last year of college football. He'll be draft eligible after the 2026 season. So this is a huge move. This guy changes everything for the offense. If he's healthy and happening, he stretches the field. That creates running lanes. It creates opportunity for others in the offense. And this guy is a dog. He's from the state of Alabama, and he's got juice. So yeah, this is big, and especially when you add Raleek Brown, Zay, and then Hollywood Smothers, who decommitted from Alabama. Like what Texas did to Alabama over the weekend. Men's basketball, football.
Yeah, and is that the rumor? Was Cam Coleman at the basketball game and he saw that Texas fight? Because that's what people are saying. Alabama, they had him in on the visit. They went to the basketball game. They saw that 4-point Texas basketball victory. And Cam Coleman was like, man, that burnt orange, that does look sweet out there. I can see myself in that.
Yeah, I mean.
You know what? Steve Sarkisian, right when he got back to the hotel. Steve Sarkisian, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing, Sark? Yeah, I just got done watching Sean Miller get that good win, and I was thinking, Austin don't sound too bad. And hell no, he wasn't going to pick Marcel Reed. You kidding me? No Colin Klein? Marcel Reed can't throw it 20 yards down the field? Nah, Cam Coleman ain't got time for that. This is the contract season for Cam Coleman. Contract year. We trying to go top 10 pick. That's what it's all about. Change everybody's lives. And Cam Coleman, he still has things to work on, even though he's undoubtedly like the number one player in the transfer portal. He's got stuff to work on. He ain't the perfect player. And hopefully Chris Jackson and Steve Sarkisian can figure that out. But as you mentioned, Chip, Hollywood Smothers, Raleek Brown. Now you got Ryan Wingo, who doesn't have the same responsibilities as a wide receiver 1 anymore. Wide receiver 2 ain't that bad. Just ask Carnell Tate and those guys. Like, yeah. Carnell Tate about to be a first-round pick as a wide receiver 2, backing up Jeremiah Smith. It ain't that bad. Just depends on how you work that thing. And Emmett Mosley, the 5th, being your 3rd, it's tough, man. And who knows what Khalid Lockett and Dalen McCutcheon, all these young bucks, everybody still thinks that Jermaine Bishop's going to have an Xavier Worthy type season. But your skill players, they're ready to go. And Arch Manning, he's ready to go. I do still fear this offensive line because I love Trevor Gooseby. Glad he's coming back. I think Brandon Baker could take another step. Connor Robinson coming back, that's a big deal. After that, gets a little murky. Gets a little fuzzy there. What are we going to do? Because I saw homeboy from Yale. He's going to Oregon. He's going to be hanging out with Dan Lanning and them. So
yeah, Mikey Bennett.
Yeah. So the skill players is beautiful. Brandon Harris, spectacular job. Love what they done in the linebacker room. Getting my man Biles out of Pitt. That dude, he's a monster. And then getting my man from Florida State, Justin Cryer. Like, that's solid. They improved that linebacker room. But the game is still won in the trenches. So this offensive line, we need some more guys. Throw some bodies in there to make everything else balance out a little bit. But as far as the skill players go, Texas skill players, their first set of guys can match up with anyone in the country.
Yeah. Well, and I see some of the guesstimates. Someone said 6 million. I've not heard that.
6 million?
Yeah, I've not heard that.
Nah, man. Nah, ain't no way. 6 million.
No.
I mean, if it's coming out of Kyle Flood's paycheck for how bad this offensive line was in 2025, then maybe. Some guys had to take less money with what we saw last year. Some guys just for the sake of the team, Sark making a lot too, but $6 million.
Now, the rumblings were 2 to 4 million. I think it's closer to 2 than to 4. Texas wasn't gonna blow the budget. They were gonna give him a great opportunity that is good for everybody. Both sides win, right? Cam Coleman wants to be a top 10 pick, and Arch Manning wants to be a top 10 pick. Everybody wants to be a top 10 pick.
Yeah, good living.
Where do you have the best opportunity to get that done? And I think Cam Coleman said, you know what? Let me go to Texas. Yeah, how about Brandon Harris? Brandon Harris hadn't tweeted since the Citrus Bowl. And then right as the commitment is about to happen, he basically mirrors what the Texas Tech general manager said a few days earlier. Don't doubt the Red Raiders. And Brandon Harris said, don't doubt the Texas Longhorns. And sure enough.
Yeah.
Boom. I wouldn't bet against. So the Texas Tech GM said, I wouldn't bet against the Red Raiders. Brandon Harris said, I wouldn't bet against the Texas Longhorns. # real story. # all in. # back at it. And sure enough.
No, that's petty. I respect it. Now, it's been a rough couple of weeks for Brandon Harris as far as Texas fans go. The whole Brandon Harris, Jerry Jones comparisons have been hilarious. And obviously the NFL game, like we talked about last week, Chip, the NFL game and the college game, as far as being a general manager, it's a little different, a lot different. And how Brandon Harris and Steve Sarkisian are trying to orchestrate this thing along with CDC and everybody else is involved, which it's changing all the time. They're doing it the best they can. And it's to do that, they've had to get rid of some guys that Texas fans love. Contrarian Wisner, Parker Livingston, DeAndre Moore. These are guys that been a part of the team day one. And Longhorn fans have embraced them, and all those guys have had their moments. Hell, Traymond Wisner's games against Oklahoma and A&M, Longhorn fans are going to remember that for the rest of their lives. So seeing that guy leave and put on that Seminole uniform hurts. So you better, come back with something serious if we're getting rid of guys like that. And Hollywood Smothers, man, he got some giddy up, boy. I know this whole Cam Coleman stuff is overshadowing the rest of the guys that Brandon Harris brought on this team. Let's not get it twisted. Raleek Brown and Hollywood Smothers, knock on wood, God forbid anything happens to those dudes. You got Derek Cooper coming in. Tough seeing Christian Clark go, but I understand. But those two dudes, Smothers, Brown, oh yeah, those guys, they can make some things go. And you got to be really excited about that first-year coach, Jabbar Jalouk, coming over from Florida. It's going to be some different juice in that running back room. And that's exactly what Texas needs. Again, the skilled players that these guys got, overall, as good as you're going to see across the nation. It's just about getting them big fellas in and making it work with them. Because what we saw last year, Longhorn fans got some UTSD about this offensive line, and Kyle Flood, you can't have too many more of them seasons like we saw last year, especially with this talent. You can't waste this talent. Wasting the talent last year was brutal. This year, it could cost you your gig. You cannot waste this year at all because all in, we see that. But the game is still won in the trenches. So them big fellas, you got to keep getting them in, and they got to develop, and they got to be solid for this brutal SEC schedule.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it's I mean, everybody's waiting to see what's going on with the offensive line recruiting, because that's really the final piece to the puzzle. And I think, from what I was told last night, there's a couple out there, and we'll see how things develop. So they got to get that right. Otherwise there's questions going in, because that was the number one priority, was the offensive line. So yeah, you see Mikey Bennett, for two-time first team all Ivy League tackle from Yale, comes in for a visit, commits to Oregon. You're looking for.
I mean, that makes sense, because he left tackle spot. Sorry, you're not getting that. Was he a right tackle?
Yeah.
Yeah, you in the battle, bro. You in the battle. Like, you got to outplay Brandon Baker. And I'm sure old boy was asking for some paper that was starting money he was asking for. And they had to let him know, we can't give you that because we don't know if you're going to be a starter. We can't do this anymore. We can't be paying guys high dollar and have them sitting on the bench. That's just not going to work anymore. So homeboy from Yale, which again, if Oregon's paying that, good for Oregon and good for him. I can't knock that. But also, Brandon Harris, everybody involved has a job to do. So Brandon Baker, I get, if homeboy would have came, maybe they would have moved him on the inside. I don't know. But I think Brandon Baker has some really good football ahead of him, and he has every right to fight for that starting spot. So if homeboy had a problem with that, if he wanted the spot to just be his whenever he touched down on whatever campus he's going to, which now we know it's Oregon, hey, good for him. But Brandon Baker, he ain't no bum. He had his ups and downs this year as a first-year starter, but when he showed his ups, you saw some really good football, and a guy that definitely going to be playing on Sundays, and Steve Sarkisian and Kyle Flood know that.
Yeah. Well, you look at the linebacker position. Rasheem Biles, this guy, I love this guy. This guy flies around. He reminds me of Ty Anthony Smith a little bit. He also reminds me of Gary Johnson. You remember Gary Johnson back in 2018?
Oh, yeah.
Fast. Just no hesitation about the guy. Had an ability to make himself skinny to get through holes, to get into the backfield. Closes, drops well into coverage, gets the proper depth in his coverage drops, had a couple of pick sixes.
Yo, did you see his pick six from Notre Dame this season? They were getting their ass whooped, but he jumped the screen, and I forgot my man from Notre Dame's name, but it was ridiculous. Like, he is athletic as hell. He's got blazers. He looks like a strong safety. That's what worries me a little bit. Like, his size, he's not the biggest dude, but he plays bigger than what he looks. And maybe in the ACC, cool, that works. But the SEC, I hope he gets right this offseason with his body and stuff, because he can play, but sometimes you look at him, he wore that single-digit number 3. He looks like a safety, and he's fast as hell. But, yeah, man, he's tough. He's tough. I like him. That's a good get for Johnny Nansen and Will Muschamp.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm still working with this camera.
Yo, man, come on. You've had it for a week. We should be getting used to it by now, right?
I know. It's just all these silly gadgets. I'm like,
every once in a while, you just do some old stuff. This is some OG stuff. I do it too. I get to that point where it's like, man, I'm getting up there. But yeah, you look good though. That
Okay.
Everything's working. And come on, Rex, they did get rid of Contravian Wiseman. Stop playing. They could have paid him. They didn't want to pay him.
Well, the one that popped up this just really, I don't know what's going on. It's like
why you keep touching it?
Well, no, it's like moving. I think I did something wrong. I put it on like desk view, so now it moves. But anyway, the one that popped up today, Warren Roberson. That one I was like, nah.
Yeah.
He must have gotten a nice offer from somewhere that Citrus Bowl may have helped him. And good for him. I mean, that's what you want. You want opportunity. You want a chance to improve things for yourself. And so.
Yeah. Yeah, because that should have been it. If I'm him, I don't know how he was thinking, but after that Citrus Bowl performance, I'm letting the coaches know. One, y'all should have played me earlier. And two, expect more of this next year when I get more opportunities. And then they bring in Bo Masco from Rutgers. He has a relationship with Mark Orfe already from the time that Orfe was coaching up there in New Jersey. They're keeping Kobe Black around. Seems like Kobe Black is coming back. You got Cade Phillips. You got these freshmen coming in. So you're fighting for reps again. And some guys want that. Some guys don't. So, like you said, Chip, some guys have a better opportunity and maybe more money at another place. And Texas maybe wasn't ready to give him all that. So you never know, but I was excited about him after that Citrus Bowl, especially under Muschamp's defense. I thought just another year in the system, another year on campus, more mature. Now he's going to get them opportunities and he can show what he's really made of. And he's a tough guy, just special teams. He's due for a penalty a game. You get, special teams. He was due for a penalty a game. It really was just his penalties were always costly. It was always like a big gain or something like that on a punt or kick return. And then the laundry would come out.
Like that 60-plus yard return that Matt Golden had against Georgia to open in the first quarter of the loss here in Austin in October last year. Yeah.
So that's what people remember.
I thought he played really well in the Citrus Bowl. He was physical. He looked like he was playing free. And, so Kobe Black is staying and Warren Roberson is heading to the portal. Now, it doesn't always mean that it's over, but, I mean, we had Bo Barnes getting a call from Will Muschamp and Johnny Nansen, and then crickets. So Bo Barnes goes and visits Kentucky, and now it looks like he's headed to Kentucky. So,
yo, man, for somebody who was playing in the college football playoff, Will Stein's been recruiting his ass off. There's been a lot of guys going to Kentucky. CJ Baxter. You saw how that Oregon offense looked. Now, Indiana's Indiana. Indiana's cold and an MFer. But we're throwing picks first play of the game. Will Stein, where's your mind at, bruh? Because it should be in Kentucky. You're the head coach.
Well, he didn't throw the pick.
I know he didn't throw the pick, but hey, you talking to him right? Dante, you talking to him right? Hey, you see that corner lurking? Don't throw that out. Don't throw that 15 seconds is up. You got 15 seconds left. Maybe he was saying it, and then the 15 seconds they cut him out.
Dante was looking like former Oregon quarterback Justin Herbert. Herbert folds up like wet Kleenex in the postseason.
He's not a postseason guy.
What the?
He's just not.
What is it? what is it with these Oregon guys when they
That
get
game was ugly too. That game was
Yeah.
ugly.
Yeah.
Dante Moore, I don't know if this is true or not. Did Dylan Raiola sign with Oregon? Is that
the rumor was he would come. I got to be honest. I have not looked at Oregon, so I've been in the.
He should come back. Dante Moore, you can't go to the league after that. Now the NFL questioning the 30 start rule. Dante only got about 18 of them things after that performance against Indiana. I mean, you want to strike while the iron's hot. I feel like now after watching that, Fernando Mendoza unanimously is the number one pick. Like, if you don't pick Fernando Mendoza over Dante Moore, you're bugging. I know he's corny as hell, but Fernando Mendoza, that's such a pretty ball, man. That thing, them back shoulder throws, it's always right over the top of the defense. Like, his touch is ridiculous, man. Always in tight situations on the sideline. Like, you have to put that thing on the money. It's not like his receivers are getting, like, open like crazy. They're really good at contested catches. All of them. All their receivers are. But they're not, like, wide open all the time. So Fernando Mendoza, he has to pinpoint that thing. And he does. He does. And then you got to respect him being black, running the ball. And then sometimes Fernando Mendoza runs it himself. Yo, they're fun. They're fun. They've had my respect, but it just seems like every game they're just sending message to everybody. And they're playing home games. Rose Bowl was a home game. The Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, home game. It was ridiculous at the bins. All I saw was red. I didn't see really any green at all. It's like Oregon. Did y'all think that it was on a different day? Did y'all think it was a Saturday game or something? And everybody's flight was just wrong? Because that's how it looked. All I saw was Indiana fans. Once that pick six happened to start the game, it was a wrap. Even though Oregon tied it, I'm still like, nah. It was a wrap because Indiana, them dudes, Signetti, they got that it factor right now. And I want Miami to play them, but I don't know, man. I don't even know what the line is right now for that natty.
What is the line?
Yeah, 90%. Like, what? I thought y'all liked hoops. What happened to Bob Knight and Isaiah Thomas and, guys like that? What happened to those days? I thought y'all didn't even really care about football like that.
Indiana is favored over Miami by 8.5.
Yo, I might take that.
Yeah.
That's high. But boy, they're just mean guys. What's up, Fernando Mendoza? He's the nicest guy on the team. Everybody else is just mean and nasty. It's just a tough, really, really gutter from the mud. Everybody on the team was an afterthought. Signetti, afterthought. And yeah, they're showing the world what just good evaluation, spend your money wisely with the transfer portal and NIL and development can do. Good coaching.
Well, listen, Miami is Miami's tough.
They are.
They got to get rid of these penalties. They had 10 penalties. But if Miami, which is playing a home game, look, Texas, everybody counted Texas out of that national championship against USC, but I think they had 2 weeks to let that fester. And ESPN was doing a special talking about, is USC the best team ever, and comparing them to all the great teams. And Texas had to sit there and listen to it for 2 weeks. The thing for Miami is, can they play a disciplined, game? And they're going to be without Xavier Lucas for a half, right?
Yeah.
Because he got targeting and their other corner is banged up. So can they get pressure? Can they get pressure on Mendoza and get him rattled? Because that's about Iowa was able to do it. Can Miami do it? And I think they can. Let's just see where their heads are.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that comparison with Texas and USC. If Carson Beck could do some Vince Young stuff, that'd be great for the U.
Well, we were all waiting for Carson Beck to choke against, Ole Miss. And he ended up making all the plays. Now, I thought they should have brought pressure on him. They should have brought pressure on Beck because I thought Ole Miss's front four was just gassed and they weren't going to get there. And so he had a clean pocket that whole game-winning drive. But, can Carson Beck stand up to that Indiana defense? Because those guys, there's just not a lot. I don't see holes.
No.
Babe Laufenberg?
Who?
Babe Laufenberg, the color guy on Cowboys radio broadcast. He used to be a Cowboys backup.
Yeah.
Quarterback to Troy Aikman. So I texted Babe because he went to Indiana. And I said, let's go. He texted me back. He said, I know the Notre Dame Miami game back in the day was billed as Catholics versus convicts, but Miami better find religion and start praying. Indiana is a machine. And I'm like, it's true.
Yeah.
How'd this happen? How'd this happen in 2 years under Curt Cignetti? Now he's got the jokes. He was so relaxed for him. Like before the game, he's like, the sideline reporter asked him, what's going to be the difference? He's like, well, I got to coach a good game, which I thought was interesting. It wasn't, I think our players are ready, whatever. He's like, I got to coach a good game.
Yeah.
And then after he's asked, blah, 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 you ready for Miami and the Orange Bowl? He's like, right now, I just want to crack open a beer. I mean, he's showing a little personality now.
Right.
Sig.
Yeah. Like the work should be done mostly. Like you did all that stuff in the off season, preparing this team for now, all the practices and stuff. Like they got backups making big time plays. Like all the turnovers that they had against Oregon, they scored off of all of them. 21 points off of turnovers. Starting with that first play of the game, pick 6. It's just, I don't know what you do with them. They run on your ass. They got 2 really good backs, like him being black. Both of those dudes are going to play on Sundays too. You need 2. Like that's what's so big about bringing in Hollywood Smothers and Raleek Brown. You need 2 backs that could be number ones on other programs. Like everybody was asking, well, Raleek Black, he must be salty that Hollywood Smothers is coming in. Not if he wants
Raleek Brown.
Raleek Brown, thank you. Not if he wants to win.
Right.
He wants to win. He's cool with it. He don't want all them reps anyway. Like, yeah, you do, but also he's smart. His body can't keep all them reps that Emmitt Smith used to get back in the day. Jim Brown, Earl Campbell, giving the ball 30 times a game. Them days are over. So, yeah, you need 2 really good backs. Indiana has those. Oh, yeah, to go along with their Heisman-winning quarterback. And really good receivers. Like Surratt, that dude's tough. Anything that's in his area, he comes up with it. Becker, looking like Ed McCaffrey out there. Cooper's good.
Cooper's got double-digit touchdown catches.
They're loaded.
Yeah. CB, the Chris Bennett, the world's greatest volunteer producer in the history of radio, who's been hanging with me since 2007. Daniel Cruz, Texas's center of the future at one point, signed to NC State. So that's the part we'll see. We'll see how it turns out.
What you mean? Connor Robinson coming back.
Connor Robertson's coming back, but he's got 1 year. Daniel Cruz has got 3 years of eligibility. Again, all their developmental guys at offensive line, except for Jaden Chapman, except for Andre Kojo, and then the youngest guys, Jordan and Devin Coleman, John Turntine, and look, Jordan Coleman has an SEC body, 345. He's a guy who, if I had to pick of the underclassmen, guys who've been here 2 years or less, he's a guy who could emerge. But you've still got Nick Brooks. Wasn't quite sure what they were doing there because he was still working at left guard, with Jaden Chapman working at backup left tackle. And you had Neto Umazulu working at right tackle for the bowl game. So you can scratch that off the list. Of course, Daniel Cruz was the backup center in the bowl practices. So,
yeah. Nick Brooks, his heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
Like the Oklahoma game, even though he was still hit or miss, his mentality just being physical, even though he might not hit anybody. Like, it's hard to be physical when you don't touch nobody or you completely miss your assignment. That's his problem. Like, just understanding what the hell's going on, what we're running, who am I supposed to block? What am I supposed to look for? That's what he needs. It's not a matter of him actually hitting people and blocking. Right. When he gets the contact, he is good. Like, he is playing through the whistle. He is physical. It's just everything I just said. Like, he has to understand the game. And that, as a freshman, that's what he really struggled with, which made it even more confusing from the outside looking in. If you don't know what the hell he's doing, why is he playing? Why are we playing him? Because it's clear he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. They are sitting everybody. When they blitz, they are hitting that B gap. They're attacking him constantly.
In that A gap.
A gap, yeah. They hitting it. It's just like, man, okay, we see the potential, but it ain't here yet. So if he can figure it out, this is a big offseason for him, because right now it's looking like he's going to be the starter. As of right now, we got a few days. Am I lying? Look at this roster.
What are you trying to do? You trying to stir up the pot?
I'm not stirring up the pot, but you're talking about, are we bringing in 2-10 Oregon State dude that got benched?
Dylan Sikorsky?
He's going to be battling with Nick Brooks. Right, as of right now, you got a few days, and I can't put it past Brandon Harris. I can't put it past.
Yeah, there's more out there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Brandon Harris, we were talking bad about him last week, weren't we, y'all? And then this weekend,
who was talking bad about him?
No, I'm just talking about the people. But now, Brandon Harris can't do no wrong. Because I have faith in him to find some offensive linemen.
And here's what I've said about recruiting for the last 20 years. You cannot lose your mind in the middle of the process. You have to wait until the signatures are in and the time is up. Then you can, if you choose to lose your mind, you can do that. Even though some of the big time signees that you think are going to be, big time, don't always pan out. Now, they typically have for Texas when they've gone to the portal. Texas has a good hit rate in the portal. But don't panic about the offensive line until the window closes and all the signatures are in, because Texas is working on some stuff, and it, probably involves a team that's been in the playoff. So
All right.
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, let's look. Can we steal somebody from Indiana? I know Kurt Cinetti got some of them big dudes on the bench that could play. I love Indiana's offensive line.
Yeah.
That offensive line's good. They be moving folks.
I'll tell you what, man. Cignetti's staff, these guys really, they are totally in tune with what they're looking for. They do a really good job of evaluation. Even when they brought the guys from James Madison, they had guys who were hungry dogs, who were always going to be up for the fight. We're always going to be about winning and the team, stuff that sounds a little archaic in this age of the transfer portal and NIL, but you still got to have those guys. Still got to have those guys.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Kyle Flood or Steve Sarkisian or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what the evaluation process has been. I mean, look, Jake Majors was recruited by Tom Herman. He was the starting center for 5 years, thanks to the COVID situation. Yes, Texas, Steve Sarkisian, this staff gets credit for DJ Campbell and Kelvin Banks and Cameron Williams, but Banks and Williams were committed to Oregon until Mario Cristobal left to go to Miami. And then they opened up their recruitment, and the Pancake Factory just happened to be getting going. 50,000 promised to scholarship offensive linemen. Perfect timing. Boom. And so now that's what was so disappointing about 2025 is that you get all these guys who've been developmental guys in your offensive line room who I felt like we didn't even get a chance to see. We saw Connor Stroh, we saw Nick Brooks, we didn't see Kibble, we didn't see Neto, and now they're gone. So here we go. Yeah, the pressure's on Kyle Flood. There is no doubt. There's no doubt. This is all eyes are right there. Kyle Flood, more than any other assistant on that staff. So
his group was a bigger liability than what Dwayne Aquina was, and Dwayne Aquina got the boot. So I get that right. Was along with Pete Kwiatkowski and them, but yeah, Kyle Flood, let's go, because this ain't the year. This ain't it.
Right now, you got all the weapons.
Yeah, how can I get the ball to Cam Coleman down the field when Arch is on his back?
Right now, you need the launch pad. You got all the rockets. Now you need the launch pad, and that's what we're waiting on. Now, again, told last night they're coming. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, let Brandon Harris keep working this magic. I respect it.
Yeah.
I respect it.
I knew as soon as I saw that tweet from Brandon Harris, I'm like, okay, that's Cam Coleman. He's not coming out of the bunker to do a touchdown dance, clapping back at Texas Tech unless it's Cam Coleman, and then like 2 minutes later, Cam Coleman. But yeah, Cam Coleman, man, if I'm Ryan Wingo, I'm like high-fiving, because Ryan Wingo has got burners. He's with the ball in his hands. Ryan Wingo is a dude. We've seen it on reverses. We've seen it in the Citrus Bowl. But there are times on third down, big money downs near the end zone where, it hasn't been vice grips on the ball. And that's what you love about Cam Coleman. That dude, he smells the end zone. It's like, yeah, I hate to do this to you, DB. but you're about to get mossed in every way imaginable. I mean, there are times where I don't even know how Cam Coleman sees the ball. He's got dudes draped all over him. So he is.
Yeah, he's got some oven mitts, man, to come down with these one-handed catches that he comes down with. And there are just times where Peyton Thorne and Jackson Arnold just threw that thing up, just threw it up in the sky and said, well, number 8 somewhere, he'll come down with it. And he did. He did. I want to see him dunk a basketball because his vertical got to be 40 and above. At least, man. Because that's just, it's different. His athleticism is different. And that's why he's demanded a lot of attention and a lot of Skrilla. And in the right system, you can see him thrive. And he just didn't do that with Hugh.
I included this in my story about Cam Coleman at Horns 24/7. He has a 59% contested catch rate, 13 of 22, which they call him 50-50 balls. Okay, he's over 50. The only receiver who was over 50 was DeAndre Moore, and it was 2 of 3. So much smaller sample size. Ryan Wingo was 4 of 14. He had the worst contested catch rate, 28% of Texas's top 4 receivers. So Cam Coleman, when that ball's in the air, it's his. He's going to make Ryan Wingo better. And I'm convinced of that. And whoever's in the slot, because Cam Coleman's going to be in the slot some, that's part of his magic. When he gets right into that slot and he runs that crossing route where he, is going to either get a linebacker, which is ridiculous, it's unfair, or quarters coverage where he can just kind of knife his way through. And then he adds that sluggo, that slant. Looks like he's going right across like he always does. He's a big target. He's not afraid. And then he turns it into a go route and breaks it back outside. I mean, he's gotten 5-10 yards clear of DBs on that route because he knows he's got great feel for when to stem his route, at the top and shake the DB, shake the defender. And that's what Texas did not have last year. They just didn't have enough separation. They didn't have dudes who could confidently know how to get you off balance, which was kind of stunning, honestly. I mean, DeAndre Moore probably did the best, but he wasn't targeted that much. And that's part of the reason he's out there, looking for a place to shine.
Yeah.
But Parker's long and fast, but he didn't do a great job of breaking at the top of his route either. He's young, get better. But yeah. And people are like, I think they're kind of sleeping on Mike Mashup, the tight end for Michigan State. That guy's he's a solid blocker, good hands. He fits that do it all. Now look, Nick Townsend that's a battle right there. There's your battle for tight end 1. And it's not guaranteed that Mike Mashup will be there, but Mike Mashup now puts pressure on Nick Townsend to be the complete tight end. You got to step up your blocking. And we know you're fast. We know you can catch. Now you got to step up your blocking or you won't be on the field as much as you want.
Yeah.
So, because they do love them some Nick Townsend.
As they should. He showed some flashes, man. They be throwing them jet sweeps and stuff. Like, Nick Townsend's a versatile guy. And who knows what he would have been if he would have been here last January and not in the summer. Like, wasn't he a late enrollee guy? So that means something for him to get on the field as early as he did while not having the time as others did coming in January. That just shows Nick Townsend student of the game and just being prepared to play early. So hopefully he could carry that into his sophomore year. But yeah, Masunis, it's a solid get too. Like the skill guys, yeah, they couldn't be better right now. You feel great about the skill guys. You feel great about it. But till Friday, so I need to see some more big fellas. Start bringing them in and make them battle. And Cal Flood, we got to get on it early, real early, because it's just this is it. This is that all-in season, man. Like, you are going all in. All these guys that have just been a part of your program are now off different places. All right. For them to leave, that means you must be serious. And this team, it looked pretty serious to me. So that's exciting. If you're a Texas fan, you should be really excited about 2026. And yeah, it's going to be a long 8 months. We're only in January 12th, but right now they're forming the team that should be able to compete with the best of them.
Well, and you look at the running back position, and both of these guys are like mirror images of each other. 5'9", 195, right in that range. They got jets and they can catch. And that's when Steve Sarkisian's at his best, because both of these guys had over 30 catches last year, and they can take that little swing pass and turn it into a home run. They both average 6 yards a carry. That's huge. I mean, Hollywood Smothers has a career. He averaged 6.4 in 2024 and 5.9 in 2025. So he's over 6 yards a carry the last 2 seasons. And, Raleek Brown is a 6 yards per carry. Like, it's not a fluke. These guys are always, well over 5 yards a carry. And Texas hasn't had that. Texas hasn't had that the last 2 years. They've had guys who are right at 4.7, 4.8. And that means you're not very explosive. And we talked about Raleek Brown had an 88-yard run. His explosive runs were, they are super impressive. And Hollywood Smothers, who's got 2 years of eligibility remaining, he's just finished his sophomore year. He had a 57-yard run against Virginia, 42-yard run against Wake Forest, a 51-yard run against Duke, 59-yard run against that was their scrub team, but a 65-yard run against Pitt. These guys can break it, and that's, they're explosive. Texas had good running backs the last couple of years. Jaden Blue was obviously the burner. And you go back to the Ohio State college football playoff semifinal, he scored the only 2 touchdowns on receptions. And we just didn't see that this past season. I mean, Quatravian Wisner was the closest thing. He had some big, catch and run plays against Oklahoma and against A&M, but not consistently. And with these two, and now, Christian Scott's thinking things over. It's understandable.
Who? Yeah. Christian Clark?
Sorry.
I thought he was in the portal already.
Yeah. So, understandable. He had a good game. He had a good game in the Citrus Bowl. We said it coming out of that. Look at the guys who helped themselves that probably would have absolutely been coming back if they didn't play in the Citrus Bowl, but that you needed them. And they played great. And they got their opportunity. And it was good for them. Bo Barnes, Christian Clark, Kalik Lockett, Warren Roberson. Good for them.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think that they could keep Christian Clark, or you think that's a done deal and he's gone?
I think he's getting recruited by Alabama.
Ooh, all right.
So
Yeah. I mean, they did take a Hollywood Smothers. They were banging on Hollywood Smothers. So,
yeah, his price might be peaking at just the right time.
So is James Simon the only scholarship back that's possibly coming back? Because he's not in the portal either.
Right.
He's the only one. He's chilling.
Yeah.
He's weighing it out. He's going to battle it out. Derek Cooper coming in.
Yeah.
Smothers, Brown. James Simon said, hey, I'm going to see what they talking about. Maybe I could squeeze in some reps here. Which that could change in the hour. That could change in 5 minutes. Who knows?
Well, hey, Contravian Wisner was a 3-star who got opportunity when CJ Baxter and Christian Clark both went down with preseason injuries in 2024. And now Contravian Wisner is a guy who's made a name for himself. So if you're ready when opportunity knocks, good for you. Good for you. And Texas had a bunch of guys who were ready when opportunity knocked in that Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. And here we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jamie French in the portal.
Michigan man, Jamie French.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a solid get.
Mm-hmm.
That's a solid get.
Yeah. So it's interesting times for sure. Trying to think. Anything else?
Portal wise.
I mean, I'll go down the list and you stop me if there's anything you want to mention. Right now, Texas has portal commitments from Ian Gaffard, the nose tackle from Arkansas, Mac Chiumento, the punter from Florida State, Gianni Spedic, the kicker from Memphis, Trey DeBuck, the long snapper, Mike Masunis, the tight end from Michigan State, Bo Masco, like him, the corner from Rutgers, Raleek Brown, Zion Williams, the 360-pound nose tackle from LSU, Dylan Sikorsky, the Oregon State redshirt freshman, linebacker Justin Cryer from Florida State, Cam Coleman, Hollywood Smothers. So, yeah. And Kobe Black staying.
Yeah, y'all know me, Conjuring King, Speculation King. I don't know. I get it's one game. I don't know if I'm taking Kobe Black over Warren Roberson. I don't know. If we look at the penalties and the special teams, okay. Warren Roberson made a lot of loud mistakes. They're not just normal mistakes. They were loud as hell. We discussed that earlier. But
Kobe could fit the nickel position for Will Muschamp.
Okay.
We'll see. Grayson Littleton could play outside. Kobe Black could get a look. I hear he'll get a look at nickel because he's a big physical hitter.
Yeah.
And Will Muschamp likes that position to be sort of a linebacker light, which really makes me think that like Jonathan, Cunningham, right? Jonathan Cunningham.
You talking about the freshman?
Yeah. Like he fits that nickel.
Jonathan Cunningham.
Yeah, he's 6'2", 193. The kid out of North Crowley. Like you didn't hear about him at all because he started off he started off at linebacker, and then they moved him to nickel. And in Will Muschamp's scheme, Jonathan Cunningham, yeah, keep an eye on old JC. You don't even know who I'm talking about, do you?
No, don't.
Yeah, he was the forgotten guy in the 2025.
37? Where's he been?
Yeah. He was the forgotten guy in that 2025 number 1 ranked recruiting class, but he's a guy who's, I've been told, well, hell, it was Jordan Scruggs who told me that he's Mo Blackwell, but more rounded as a DB. So he's going to be an intriguing figure as Will Muschamp really gets around his personnel and sees who fits what, because, he came in light for the linebacker position and they moved him to nickel, but he was behind Grayson Littleton and Wardell Mack. So you never heard his name. He wasn't going to play red shirt, but he's still there. So that's going to be an interesting guy to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Wardell Mack too.
Yeah.
My man Wardell Mack got that 89 grade in that Michigan game, according to Pro Football Focus, best defender on the field in that Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, 31 snaps. Wardell Mack said, no, I'm staying. Will Muschamp just going to boost my game to another level. I want that smoke.
Well,
change, but.
And Derek Williams. Derek Williams is another guy who could get a look at that nickel. 6'2", 200 pounds. So.
Derek Williams posted a picture of him and Jelani McDonald like before the game. I think it was the Georgia game, they were walking on the field and somebody got a good picture of them too. And I don't know what else I think he put some type of emoji in there, but from what I saw from that picture, it looked like he was saying, this is my running mate. We're going to be the starting 2 safeties here next year, which would be dope. That would be awesome if Derek Williams could take over for Mookie Taft's spot and play like the player that we thought he was going to be before the injury. But, yeah, Xavier Filsame's still there, and we still know about Jonah Williams' situation, but we got to assume that he'll be playing too. So, yeah, that's safety room.
Zealous Hicks. Another long. Anthony Hill mentioned Zealous Hicks to me a couple times, and I was like, okay. If Anthony Hill says this kid's got something, then I'm watching. I'm watching. We had to wait. To see Jelani. Jelani was on special teams. Then he got his shot, and bam. I mean, Jelani, keeping Jelani and Trevor Gooseby tells me the culture's pretty good. Because those guys are guys who've been there in the program, going on their 4th year, whatever. And, they weren't in a hurry to get out. They weren't just chomping at the bit to go get into the draft like Cam Williams was a year ago. I mean, every scout was like, yeah, come back. Come back,
dude. Come back.
Get you another season. Get you some more reps.
We will help with school. We will help. Just study a little bit.
I should have never told you that.
Just open the book a little bit. An hour a day. We're good with that. An hour a day. Open the book just a little bit. No, you don't want to study for nothing. All right.
All right, let's get a couple mentions here. We'll spread them out today. Hey, for my guys who are snoring, take advantage of this great opportunity and partnership that we have. Texas Sports Unfiltered and the Sleep Cycle Center of Austin, locations in Lakeway and the Arboretum. Our man, Dr. Chad Denman, who has dedicated his life to treating sleep apnea, which is a lack of oxygen while you sleep. It's scary. and it can be fatal. It killed Dr. Chad's dad at the age of 60, killed Reggie White. Like, we don't mess around with this. Snoring is more than just annoying to the person sleeping next to you. It's could be the sign of a serious health issue. And what you want to do is just go to sleepcyclecenters.com and tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. They're going to take $100 off your sleep study, practically give it away so that you get the information you need. Dr. Chad has the best technology to detect sleep apnea, the level of sleep apnea, and the best treatment options, from oral appliance like I have. Mouth guard holds my lower jaw open while I sleep, to different kinds of CPAP, to surgery. But get the information. You want a great night's sleep first and foremost. That's what you want. You don't want to be waking yourself up all night. That's what happens when you have sleep apnea. You wake up gasping for air. So take advantage of this great partnership. Just go to sleepcyclecenters.com. Tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. And it's Monday, cover 3, all night happy hour. All night happy hour, cover 3. I love cover 3. I mean, this is my spot. My man, Tiger Brown, my son, still working over there, working behind the bar, working as a server. Great food, high-end food without the high-end prices. And of course, happy hour, you got the $7 social hour menu. The firecracker shrimp are on that menu, the bacon deviled eggs, the big chicken slider. But go get the Sean Adams prime rib sandwich and give us some comments if you've had it, the Parmesan fries, the Chop House burger. Yeah, cover 3 Anderson, cover 3 Round Rock. They got you covered. Zay, our man, Texas basketball. That was a big headline.
Hey,
they went to Alabama and took care of business. Give me your thoughts on that one.
Impressive. Absolutely impressive. Sean Miller challenged these guys these last few weeks, and they responded. I mean, there's only so much disrespect you can take as a player, because if I'm a player and Sean Miller is saying those things about me, I'm taking that as disrespect. And we saw how he treated Swain, Matthysse, and Pope at the end of that Tennessee game. They didn't play in the second half. He came in the presser and said, I just need guys to give effort. And all 3 of those guys were huge in that game against Bama, especially Jordan Pope. I mean, I was saying, I don't think you should start this guy moving forward. And he came out and said, Zay, you should probably shut the hell up. 28 points for that ass. And the shots that he was hitting, man, these are tough shots. Off the dribble, he's not on balance at all, which if you're Nate Oates, like after he hits the second one, I would probably change up my defense. But Jordan Pope said they're going to keep giving me this shot around the top of the key where I could come off of this screen and get into my jumper where my jumper's already feeling good, then keep letting it fly. And he was also getting to the hole too. Had a couple of nice finishes, a little floater in that second half. That's the best I've ever seen Jordan Pope play. The best I've ever seen him play. Now, he's hella streaky. We know that. Don't expect this the next game. Really don't expect this the next game, because that's just not what he's shown us throughout his Texas career. But he could have games where he can knock down shots. And if he just could make a few, I'm not saying go for 28 every game, but if you give Texas 3 threes a game, oh man, that will go a long way for everybody, because now with his shot making, that spaces the floor. When he has those donut games where he's not doing anything, just running around out there, or, he's putting up 6 and he's 2 for 12 and 2 for 13, like we've seen a lot this year, especially against these quad 1 opponents, that's when Texas could be in trouble. But him hitting shots changes everything. Dalen Swain, the block at the end of the game on Holloway, it's incredible. That's incredible effort. That's what Sean Miller's talking about. And Dalen Swain was smart throughout the game, besides the flagrant push, which, all right, college basketball, we got to do something about the appeals, man. The appeals, it's bogus. Like, what are we doing? Which their penalty is if you don't get the appeal, you get your timeout taken away, whatever. But if you're just going to appeal everything, then we got to do something about it. We have to, because it's just a joke that that game was that long and all those appeals, which low-key, it played in the Texans' favor. It did, because every time they appealed something, the crowd would go, oh, shit, another one, damn. And you know them Tuscaloosa people, they ain't got much patience. Nick Saban ruined all the patience, ruined it. So, yeah, they need some positivity to get hype again. It was just like a roller coaster for them. So that played in the Texas' favor, where when Alabama went on runs, an appeal would happen, and then Texas could quiet down the crowd and get back to playing just even-killed basketball, which they did well. The defense, they were running them off the three-point line. That's what you got to do to Alabama, because Holloway and Philon, those guys can light it up. They went 2 for 10 combined from three. Both of those guys shoot over 40% from the three-point line. So if you're going over screens and not allowing them to get into their sweet spot when they're coming off of those screens and they have to drive and you're forcing other players to make shots, that's the best that you got to do. And you got to hope those guys don't make shots. The defense still wasn't great overall. You allowed 88 points, but we know Texas has flaws. So that's not surprising, but you just don't want to allow what the other teams do well, do it. You got to take that away. And against Josh Hubbard, Mississippi State, they didn't do that well. Against Jacoby Gillespie, Tennessee, they didn't do that well. But against Alabama, Holloway and Philon, they worked that defensive scheme to perfection, even though Alabama, still being a good team, still got good shots. It wasn't from their main guys, and that's been a problem with Texas men's basketball. If they could continue to do that, to take the main guys out of the game and force the other players, the role players, to beat them, they're going to be in every game. But they got to continue to play smart basketball, and that's the IQ thing. That's when I always bring up the Sean Miller analogy with the bus, and if he tells you don't go on the street, and you still go on the street and get hit by the bus, that's what he's talking about. Little things like that. I tell you to fight over the screen, do it. Do it. They did that, and they came out victorious, big-time upset win. Hopefully they could carry that momentum this Thursday or Wednesday when they got Vanderbilt coming into town. It was good. Yeah.
And they hit 9 of 10 free throws in the final 320. 9 of 10 free throws in the final 320.
Big.
They finished. Because that was the question after the Arizona State game, after the Mississippi State game. And Mississippi State was at home and they couldn't finish. And they were missing free throws at the end. Traymond Mark in that game, Dalen Swain in the Arizona State game. But so they were all over the place. Swain was 1 of 2 on free throws at the 407 mark. Traore 1 of 2 at 346. Then Swain hits both free throws at 320. Matthysse hits both free throws at 244. Matthysse hits 1 of 2 at 124. And then Pope hits all 4 free throws in the final 11 seconds. And Texas closes it out. So you got to learn how to win. That was big.
Huge.
Big for this team.
And, man, I love the way Traymond Mark's been playing. I really do. Like, kudos to Sean Miller. I've talked about that weeks ago, and Sean Miller talked about it in that presser. I forgot which game it was after, but he said that he had to allow Traymond Mark to be Traymond Mark. You know, that analytic game that you play, that all these coaches are starting to put in their philosophies, like a Nate Oates, where we don't want mid-range jumpers. Like, you know for a fact, you're Sean Miller, you know Nate Oates, he hates mid-range jumpers. Like, he probably makes his team run if they shoot mid-range jumpers when they don't have to. He wants threes, layups, free throws. That's what he wants. Whatever order comes natural, he'll take it, but threes, layups, free throws. No mid-range jumpers. So if you're Sean Miller, let's make them shoot mid-range jumpers. Let's force them off the line. Let's wall up when they drive so they don't get to the cup, and let's make them shoot that in-between shot because we know they don't want to do it. So if you're a player and that's in your head, if you know if you take a certain shot, your coach is going to lose their mind, it changes your game a little bit. And you want to take what the defense gives you, but if the defense is giving you that, that's kind of a mind muck. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you have to do. Like, that is a good scheme that Sean Miller and this coaching staff drew up in this game because he knows Nate Oates requires this, that, and this. So if we take those things away, that team, they're going to be playing uncomfortably. And that's what they did. And, you know, Traymond Mark, sometimes you got to allow certain players to play a game that isn't what everybody's doing. And Traymond Mark, he's doing that. He looks so free out there. The shot, he's taking fadeaways. He's taking, you know, 2 dribble pull-ups. They might be mid-range shots, but for him, that's a good shot. He's the reason why they had that lead in the first half. Because I think he had 18 points or 16 points in the first half, really the only one that was going. And then Jordan Pope came along and Dalen Swain came along. And then Traymond Mark had that huge layup to put him up, give him a little separation late in the game. But I really appreciate how Traymond Mark's been playing with all this chaos surrounding Texas basketball. Traymond Mark has been really consistent. And this is interesting too, Chip, because the commentary said this. Sean Miller, I don't know who was calling the game, but they said when they were watching practice, apparently Sean Miller let somebody know, hey, if you don't want to play for me or at Texas, find somewhere else to play. And I was thinking the same thing, CB, when he said that. I was like, oh, who the hell did he say that to? Because the rotation didn't change. Like, it was still that eight-man rotation with Heidi, Matthysse, Pope, Swain, Mark, Traore, Weaver, and Wilcher. So it didn't change, really. Matthysse weirdly only got 18 minutes. Traore got 22. So I'm not going to sit here and speculate. Y'all know how I do. My mind could go crazy. We're not going to do that. But apparently he said that about someone.
Yeah.
He said that about someone.
Yeah, and I think he's finally, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything because this was a good win. It was an important win, especially after a couple of call-outs. Alabama looks, under Nate Oates, that's a team that could be a NCAA tournament resume saver. We'll see. Alabama's got to keep doing their thing, and Texas has got to keep getting better. But, yeah, that game, and when you're in enemy territory and your back's up against the wall, sometimes you find something. Now, can it be repeated? Is it sustainable? Did they go through some adversity that has now bonded them more together? Because there was some stuff going on earlier in the year, when Sean Miller's like, Jordan Pope's our point guard. I'm like, dude, hold on a minute. Just tap the brakes for a second, figure some stuff out.
And I've been telling you for how long, he is way more AJ Abrams than he is TJ Ford.
Right.
Like if you play him like an AJ Abrams, where you know where he could shoot it. You know he likes it around that top of the key area, that just, when it gets to the wings, okay. When it gets to the corner, no. Keep him around the top. If he's around the top, he loves that area off the dribble. He could shoot from there. But if you have him in like a TJ Ford, where I got to control the game as a point guard and have that mindset for him, he's not going to play well. He has to be a scorer. He has to look for his shot and then allow everything else to come together after that. Sometimes it's good Against Alabama, sometimes it ain't. But you got to go with the mindset of, hey, man, you got to look to score. All that other stuff, no, you're not a point guard. You're in a point guard's body, you're a shooting guard. So that's how you have to play them for the rest of the year, for the rest of the season. And that's okay. Now you just got to get Matthysse to come along. You just got to get him. And he had some good moments. But he gets into foul trouble, and he always gives you an offensive foul a game that drives me nuts.
He's got enough tools that you have to mold him. His molding is going to be a work in progress this year, coming from Florida Atlantic. He's now in a much more physical league. He cannot bring the ball down, which he does that from time to time, and you just want to bang your head against the wall. You're like, dude, your arms are so long. Keep that ball way above your head. Don't ever bring it down. And
that I think I lose a life every time I see a big man do that. It doesn't matter if I'm watching Texas. Doesn't matter if I'm watching NBA. Like when a big gets the ball high and has a wide open layup and all of a sudden goes, oh. It's like, bro,
don't do it.
Don't do that. You're right there. Just catch and go. It's that easy.
Yeah.
It's that easy, but he's wrong. You got to, like you said, Shep, he's so raw coming from Europe. It's a different game over here. Now he's in the SEC.
And he's got a peculiar mindset.
Yeah.
So Sean Miller's going to have to coach his ass off to get through to this kid, but he's got the tools. So you stick with it. Or you have
like Jokic without all the skill. Like Jokic looks like he doesn't care about anything except his horses. Like he has that like aura where it's just like life is horrible. This is a job. I don't love the game. And I'm not saying that he feels this way.
Right.
But that's how it looks.
That's the look. Right. He has resting, angry basketball face.
Yeah. Like, damn, Jokic, you're one of the greatest players to ever touch the rock. Can you look like you care? I love the game. I'm not that good. I wish I had your talent and your size, and you out here caring about your horses, crying over your horses and not winning a championship, not even breaking a tier. So, yeah, Matthysse, if they could just get him going, man, that'd be huge. But, yeah, huge win. Huge win.
Can we work on Kendall Weaver face guarding the best perimeter player? I'm not saying so much in the Bama game, but like coming off the Mississippi State game when Hubbard lit him up, and I'd like to see that develop more too, because I think Kendall Weaver has the juice to do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not like he's some polished offensive, go-to guy. He's a garbage man. He's going to go make stuff happen where other people don't. He's got a little Dennis Rodman quality without all the rebounds. And he's just going to go fill gaps and dive on the floor. And he's got the juice to face guard.
Yeah. Well, face guarding's kind of like spying your quarterback.
Yeah, you don't want to do it all the time.
You don't want to do it all the time.
But when a guy's hot.
Yeah. Right. But
don't let him keep lighting you up.
No, I agree. But yeah, sometimes it's tough because it just completely takes that defender out of what your other four defenders are doing. So if somebody breaks someone down and I'm face guarding one guy, I have no idea what's happening behind me. And that could be a help side situation, but I'm face guarding, so I don't know. So it's tough. It's tough because I see what you're saying. And there are certain opportunities that Kendall Weaver should be face guarding, and they should change their defense up just a little bit, just a couple of possessions. But yeah, I think Sean Miller, he's still trying to figure things out. And yeah, they did a really good job. I was impressed. Even though Phylon and Holloway got theirs, it wasn't from the three. They got theirs. They didn't want like those 21 points and 18 points that they had. They were tough. It was out of, just their comfort level, how they got them. They got those points because they had to take them. They didn't want to. And Texas, that was their defensive strategy. Like running those guys, you are not shooting the three when you come off this screen. You better take it inside. You better create for your other guys and see what happens. And, of course, Texas gave up a couple just because you can't be perfect. But overall, they did a hell of a job of keying in on those guys and what they do well and taking that away. You got to do that every single game.
Yeah.
Yeah. The women, on the other hand,
yeah, this was a mess. And this was we haven't seen Maddie Booker get into foul trouble early in a game since the Final Four. And what we've been saying is, well, if Maddie Booker gets into foul trouble, there's others who can pick her up. Not yesterday. Jordan Lee was off. Rory Harmon was off. This is how bad things were for Texas. Rory Harmon didn't play a minute in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
This is your fifth-year senior team leader, all-time assist leader, closing in on all-time steals leader.
All-American.
All-American, who scored 26 against UCLA, who hit the game winner when they double-teamed Maddie Booker against South Carolina. I thought she had the flu. I mean, I was like...
Yeah, you called me yesterday. You said she had the flu. I was like, I didn't even think about that.
I mean, because you heard Mario Cristobal say that the flu was going through Miami, and it was Texas had some. Trevor Gooseby played the whole Citrus Bowl with the flu.
Oh yeah, it's going around.
But Rory not playing a single minute in the fourth quarter was Brianna Preston, and Maddie Booker played only 1 minute of the second quarter. Justice Carlton picked up her second foul 2 minutes into the second quarter. She sat. So they were never in sync, but it was still a 5-point game at halftime. And then, third quarter, LSU kind of puts a little run together and it's starting to get away. Ashton Judd's 0 for 5. Brea Cunningham didn't score a point. Your starting center. Now, Kyla Oldacre came in and played her butt off. 16 points, 16 boards. And when she's hot like that, they have to feed her. And Vic was pissed after the game. He's like, she's on fire and she only gets 9 shots? Like, can we get an entry pass? Can we get the ball to Kyla Oldacre? Can our guards get that done? And that didn't happen. And then Maddie Booker went off in the fourth quarter. She goes LeBron. She scores 14, including 10 in a 13-3 run that gets Texas, cuts the lead to 3, cuts a 13-point deficit to 3 with 3 minutes left. I mean, there's still time. And Texas just couldn't, look, Michaela Williams played great for LSU. LSU was hyped. It was a jam-packed crowd, 13,000 at the Maravich Assembly Center, the PMAC, they call it.
Pistol.
And they don't have great size, Zay, but they send everybody to the glass. And they were scrapping and hustling, and Texas had more turnovers than their opponent for only the second time all year. The other was South Carolina when they won 66-64. This was a winnable game, even though Texas played horribly and had players in foul trouble and Rory Harmon's off. So, Vic blasted. The weird part, though, is he went off on the fact that Texas is going to play South Carolina at South Carolina on Thursday. Wow. And I get it. Vic was pissed. He had a bad game. He hates losing to Mulkey. He shouldn't have gone on about the schedule because he basically said, unless someone from my university stands up and says, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, what?
about playing back-to-back road games against LSU and South Carolina in the same week. And he's like, I've seen this schedule. I knew this was on the schedule dating back to spring meetings. I wanted to see if someone else would say anything. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I'll see.
You need to walk down the hall and say to, Sarah Baumgartner or Chris Plonsky, hey, can we do something about this? But so I give Vic a pass. He was pissed, but that was kind of, don't bring that up now. I mean, look, sometimes it's like you're working the ref for a good call later. So now the SEC office knows, okay, if we schedule Texas back-to-back road games against two of the top 3 teams preseason picked to, finish in the top 3 in the conference, then we're going to hear about it. And Vic's a Hall of Famer, so we need to, maybe it works. But what'd you think, Zay?
I thought it was soft. This is the toughest conference in the nation. They got like 10 teams in the top 10. Like Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Oklahoma, South Carolina, LSU, Texas. I think they're all in the top 10. Somehow, some way, it's going to roll out like this. It just so happened to be LSU, South Carolina for you this week. You got out-coached. You have 0 national championships. That woman with the gold loud-ass jacket and pantsuit has 4 of them things. Say what you want about her. She's good. She is really good. She's crazier than a road lizard, but she can coach her ass off. She can. And I thought Vic was bad yesterday. I did. I thought he got completely outcoached. You play Rory Harmon in the 4th quarter. I don't care how bad of a game she's having in the first 3 quarters. You play her in the 4th quarter because she is that good of a player, and you should trust her to figure it out eventually. You should trust her. If she was sick, okay, whatever. But if she's not, you play her in that game. You're playing Jordan Lee 40 minutes again. She looked exhausted. Yeah. She goes 3 for 11. Every shot that she missed was short. So now playing that big 3, Madison Booker, Rory Harmon, Jordan Lee, playing them all those minutes before the season, for non-conference play, I said earlier, that might come back to haunt you. Because, yeah, those games mean something, but they don't mean as much as conference play and once March hits. And during those times, instead of playing them all those minutes, you should be working different rotations to see what goes together. Because when you have situations like Madison Booker, foul trouble, what do? We don't know. Because we weren't throwing in different rotations and different lineups when we should have to prepare ourselves here in January, if that happens. We can't bank on Madison Booker not being in foul trouble all the time. Like, we gotta guesstimate that might happen. And if we're not going to play Rory Harmon, like Breonna Preston, Ashton Judd, they haven't played together much. They've been hurt. So you got them playing tough minutes in the 4th against LSU, and you're confused why it's not working. Ashton Judd was horrible. Justice Carlton, and it's weird, man. He's really hard on Justice Carlton. It's weird.
Yeah,
he'll make one mistake and he'll pull her.
She didn't miss a shot yesterday.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she'll make one mistake. There was one play where she didn't box her girl out, and her girl got an offensive rebound and scored. And that drives every coach crazy because you play good D and the team ends up getting an offensive rebound and the putback. You always want to blame the person that allowed that. Okay, yell at her and then keep her in the game. Like, he's doing that way too much. And again, Vic Schaefer, Hall of Fame coach. He's an amazing coach, but there's a reason why you're still looking for that first one, and Kim Mulkey has 4 of them. And now she might have figured out, oh, Michaela Williams is our best player? Okay, I've gone about this all wrong. It's not Flage. It's not Fluwali. It's Michaela Williams. Michaela Williams was doing some stuff yesterday, man. She had Rory Harmon just on an island by herself. She's just jabbing Rory Harmon, just old like KD, just jabbing, no dribbles, just right over the top. Sweet jumper, all cotton. The shot that she hit, the game winner, basically, they're up by 4, shot clock going down. Michaela Williams throws up a heaver, but it's still pure form, knocks it down, goes up 7 with about a minute and some change to go. That was the ball game there. Like, Michaela Williams is terrific. I think it's taken Kim Mulkey a while to figure out who the best player was because they played the weakest schedule in the whole nation. Until conference play, they haven't played any ranked teams, so that's why they lost a couple to Vanderbilt and Kentucky. Now beating Texas, I think she's figured some things out. But, yeah, I did not like what Vic Schaefer did yesterday with his lineup. I did not like him after the presser. And, this is a learning experience for this team. Now they got that first loss out the way. They don't have the pressure of being undefeated. They've been compared to that 86 team a ton recently because it's the 40th year anniversary of that 86 team. So they ain't got to worry about that anymore. And hopefully with South Carolina going up to Columbia, they could get right and get a dub and see what happens there. But, yeah, I'm still very concerned about the minutes that just Jordan Lee, Madison Booker, and Rory Harmon have just stacked this season.
And Aaliyah Crump has missed 14 straight games. Stress fracture in her foot. It was supposed to be 4 to 6 weeks. It's now going into week 7 and could go into week 8. Yeah. Because she still had some swelling. So they're gonna do right by her. They're gonna make sure that there's no swelling.
No, for sure. But that shouldn't be the excuse that you're playing Jordan Lee 40 minutes. You could play Breonna Preston and Rory Harmon at the same time. You could put Madison Booker at your point. She played it a whole freaking year, her freshman year, and was a Big 12 player of the year. She could do that.
Kaya Sidbury can give you some minutes.
Like, you could play Ashton Judd and Justice Carlton at the same time. I still think there are times where, and this is why, like, if you're a coach, you should try every line. We shouldn't be just stuck to one lineup. And I think Vic Schaefer, he's gotten so comfortable of doing it this way because, again, they've only had one loss. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I get it. I understand that. But also, I'm going to throw in as many different lineups as I can throughout the season just because based on the matchup that I see in March, which you never know what it will be, but I want to have an advantage for every matchup and every team I face, depending on the style of play that we see. So if that means we're playing a smaller team and I could have Kyla Oldegger and Bria Cunningham in at the same time, or we dominate the post, I'll do that. If I play a scrappier, faster team, then let me see what Rory Harmon, Breonna Preston, Jordan Lee, put Madison Booker at the 4, put Justice Carlton at the 5, depending on the matchup, and let's see what we could do with that. He doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. It's like he's against playing certain players at the same time because it's like if that one person gets into foul trouble, we need their replacement to be ready. He's doing that with Justice Carlton and Ashton Judd. I don't like it there. I'd put them in at the same time if I could. And he does that with Kyla Oldegger and Bria Cunningham.
Yeah.
I wish he mixed it up more because they're going to see teams like they did yesterday where Madison Booker's out the game. And that lineup that they brought in, you could tell that they didn't feel comfortable on the court together. You could just tell. And it's because why would they? They don't play together very often because you always have Madison Booker in the game getting 35 minutes plus. You always have Jordan Lee in the game getting 38 minutes plus and Rory Harmon too. You take out Rory Harmon for the whole quarter. Like, that's not normal. That team, even though they were making the comeback, thank goodness Madison Booker is an All-American player and did what she did. But everybody else looked like chickens with their head cut off. Like everybody else was just kind of running around and hoping that Madison Booker would continue to bring them back. And when everybody else got their opportunities to make a play, they didn't. Yeah. Ashton Judd had a wide open layup. She threw that thing over the rim. It was just, it wasn't their game. It wasn't their game. And hopefully they all learn from that, including the coaches.
All right, let's get a couple mentions. We'll get into the chip shot and the right call. Hey, how about some better health in 2026? Let's do it the Humann way. Humann with two N's. Their, scientific research, award-winning research into their supplements conducted at the University of Texas Health Science Center. They've raised the level. And I'm going to show you the canisters that I take every day, and the brain fog is gone. I feel great. I'm going to go play some pickleball tonight. But their formulas are advanced. It's not the supplements that you can get everywhere else. Like the Metabolic Health Daily. I mean, this is going to help you with your blood sugar and, so that you're not getting adult onset diabetes. Humann Metabolic Health Daily. The Cardiovascular Health Daily, helping you with blood flow and blood pressure, vascular health, so that your arteries are flowing. And then the Cholesterol Health Daily is accentuating your healthy cholesterol. These aren't just fish pills to reduce your bad cholesterol. These accentuate your healthy cholesterol. And then, of course, the Super Beats Heart Chews, which, cardiologists say that the beet-based formulas for Humann Super Beats Heart Chews are the number one recommended. And if you have any kind of blood pressure issue, these chews are going to help you regulate it 2 times more effectively than just diet and exercise. Everybody should be taking the Super Beats Heart Chews. And if you're active, the turmeric chews, anti-inflammatory. Where does the pain come from? Comes from inflammation. I take these every day. And I take the Super Beats Sports Powder about 30 minutes before I go out to work out. All the UT athletes take the Super Beats Sports Powder. Look, go to Humann with 2 N's.com/TSU. Use the promo code TSU, and you're going to get 20% off your first order. So load up, get multiple orders because there's a 90-day money-back guarantee, but you're going to feel great. You're going to be just ordering over and over and over again, like I am, because I feel better. The brain fog's gone. I feel physically better. I'm like even thinking about maybe pushing my knee replacement surgery back. You know what I'm saying? Just go to Humann with 2 N's.com/TSU. Use the promo code TSU. And hey, when you're ready for the big screen of your dreams, how about a new media room? Maybe some surveillance, electronic shades, new lighting. There's only one call to make, and that is to our man, Tom McKay at Audio Visual Consultations. You just call 255-8678. 255-8678. And Tom and his crew, from the free consultation to installation, are going to bring everything to you. You don't have to move a muscle. He's going to bring you the best price on big screens. You don't need to be going shopping, elbowing people, carrying a 80-inch TV around town, clunking around in your truck, punching holes in your drywall. Just call 255-8678. Let Tom and his crew bring everything to you. Appreciate Tom McKay. He's the OG. He's been the audio visual guy in Austin for 30 plus years, been putting big screens and surround sound in your favorite restaurants in Austin for 30 years. All right, Zay, for the chip shot today, I'm going to hit on a few things. Obviously, Cam Coleman, it changed everything. Yesterday changed everything because you got Cam Coleman, you got Hollywood Smothers, and suddenly Texas went from not being in the top 10 in the portal rankings to number 1. I don't even care about that, but people were coming at me going, "Where'd you get this all-in stuff from?" And I'm like, it came from inside the building. Like, it came from Texas. People were thinking I was like making it up. And then Brandon Harris just came out and said it in that tweet that was a clap back at Texas Tech's general manager when he said, I wouldn't bet against Texas. And, hashtag real story, hashtag all in, like 2 minutes before the Cam Coleman news dropped. And look, all that stuff aside, because let's just zero in on what Texas is getting from Cam Coleman. They're getting an elastic, explosive, contested catch machine, 6'3", 200 pounds. He's long and got bounce, plays from the slot, plays from outside. There's no hesitation in this guy. And that's what you love. His competitive edge is on display at all times. And he can get deep. But he can catch crossing routes too. Go watch his YouTube highlight reel from 2025. There is a midfield open field hurdle of a Ball State defender. He just hurdles the guy in the middle of the field and keeps going. There's contested catches all over the place. He's elevating over DBs, coming down, getting his foot in bounds for, unbelievable contested catches. And then all the catches in the end zone where he's got guys in front of him, all over him. And he's still finding a way, sometimes one-handed, to make these touchdown catches. And there's a reason he was the number one receiver in the portal, because he's a guy that when you need a big play, he's not afraid. And that's where Texas will benefit. Obviously, Arch Manning can throw it deep. You got to have guys who are going to catch it deep. And this guy catches it. So, and I know people are going to say, oh, yeah, he had 6 drops. Okay. He also has a 59% contested catch rate, 13 of 22. Those are 50-50 balls. He's at 59%. I'll take that. He wants the same numbers as Jeremiah Smith. He wants the same numbers as Omar Cooper. And Arch wants those numbers too. Together, they can elevate each other. These two guys are going to rise together. And I think Cam Coleman's going to help every pass catcher and running back in the offense because he's going to draw the coverage. You have to respect him deep, and that's going to create underneath opportunity for backs running it, catching it, for underneath receptions, and it changes the game. It changes the entire offense. Now, go nail down the offensive lineman to ensure protection for Arch so that he has the time to sit back in the pocket for the average is like 2.5 seconds. If he needs to get to 2.8 or 3, he needs the protection. But yeah, Raleek Brown, Hollywood Smothers, these guys are burners, man. They can catch, both of them over 30 catches last year at their respective schools. Hollywood Smothers has 2 years of eligibility remaining. Raleek Brown has 1. But these are tough guys. They're small, but they're tough. Like, they run hard and they break tackles. And you can tell they love the game from the way they play. You have to watch them. Go watch their highlights. You can see the juice that they have when they play. And, that's what you like. They've had to patch some holes because they didn't feel like their own recruiting provided the fruit that they needed to have a big year in Arch Manning's most likely last year. So they've gone into the portal to get reinforcements. And so far, so good. At linebacker, Rasheem Biles, this guy, I love this guy. He's fast. He's tough. He hits. He's opportunistic. He can make himself small to knife through the line and get into the backfield, but he closes and he pops and he gets good depth on his linebacker drops. He had 2 pick sixes this year. And when he's got the ball in his hands, he looks like a damn running back. Yeah. I mean, he
He definitely played running back in high school.
Yeah.
Like most linebackers do.
Yeah, this kid's he's got sizzle. And then, Justin Cryer, solid. My early prediction is, Ty Anthony Smith and Rasheem Biles as your starters with, Brad Spence moving back and forth, kind of like Trey Moore did this past year, if they need him. Otherwise, they can play him, in his edge position. But Cryer can blitz. He can get into the backfield. And then, you've got Tyler Atkinson. And if he blows everyone away, then okay, here comes Tyler Atkinson. But you got to have depth. And I think remember the two biggest priorities I said coming in: offensive line, linebacker. I think they've got linebacker covered, and would love to have seen Bo Barnes stay, but he made a good showing for himself in the Citrus Bowl and got an opportunity. So now he's headed to Kentucky. And I see my man, Tet. I think he's like saying I'm ignoring the chat, and then I'm all about Humann because someone was asking about Blake Gideon. Yeah, Blake Gideon is coming, but he's got a clause in his contract where the buyout drops. So he's Georgia Tech just hired their new defensive coordinator. Gideon's coming. Don't worry. It's all good. And then, as far as the Texas baseball team, number 3 in D1 baseball's preseason poll. And I'm so excited about Texas baseball because, my God, you've got a gold mine of pitchers. You've got Dylan Volantis, and look at all these lefties. Man, you got Dylan Volantis, lefty. Luke Harrison, lefty. You got Jason Flores, righty. Ruger Riojas is a guy who will get a look at the, starting pitching. Sam Cozart, the freshman. And you still have Max Grubbs. If he's not a starter, what a unbelievable middle reliever he was last year. You've brought in some big time power arms like Cal Higgins. You've got Thomas Burns still. You've got Ethan Walker, the Binger. I mean, it should be a lot of fun to watch this Texas baseball team because you've got, you brought in Josh Livingston from Wichita State to take over for Kimball Schuessler at first. You've still got Ethan Mendoza. You've still got, Adrian Rodriguez and Timo Becerra you brought in from Stanford. You've still got, the third baseman who, somebody help me, hit some home runs last year, did a nice job. But in the outfield, you've got, Jonah Williams and Aiden Robbins. Everyone I've talked to says Aiden Robbins, the Seton Hall transfer who batted .422, is the real deal. So I think and you brought in Carson Tinney from Notre Dame, who was a Buster Posey finalist, to be your catcher. And the early excitement around this team is electric. And look, if D1 baseball says you're preseason number 3, unlike the football, Casey Borba was the name I was trying to, who played third base for you, but you've got all kinds of guys who are going to be, trying to figure it out there. Football, I didn't buy it. I didn't buy football being preseason number 1 at all. Baseball, yeah, I'm buying it. I'm buying it because the pitching is there.
I think I counted 11 SEC teams that are ranked in that poll.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be a knife fight. So you better have pitching.
Yeah.
And I think Texas has pitching. And so it'll be fun. All right, let's get to the right call because we're way late.
Let's get it. Before that, though, shout out to Covert Bee Cave, the best car dealership in the biz, doing it for over 100 years and doing it well. I would know. Our Buick Encore GX is absolutely spectacular. And if you don't want to take my word for how great Covert Bee Cave is, listen to these wonderful folks of Covert Bee Cave.
I don't have to worry about shopping for mechanics to make sure it's done and done right. I come up here, I'm in, I'm out. They give me a loaner sometimes, and it's hassle-free.
If you have any questions, they'll go ahead and help you out and educate you. They're not just here just to sell you a vehicle. They're here to build a relationship.
They treat you like family, and then they make the experience what you want it to be, not what they want it to be.
Covert, born and raised in Austin,
where you are always treated like family.
Nobody beats a Covert deal. Not now, not ever. All right, Shep. So I'm very interested to see what you think of this video and this story I'm throwing at you for the right call, because you've been in these rooms thousands of times as the media interviewing a coach after a game, win or loss. After the Jacksonville Jaguars game, which Jags lost, Liam Cohen was up there doing the mandatory media availability. And a woman named Lynn Jones, who is a part of the Jacksonville Free Press News, had this to say to Liam Cohen after the game.
How you doing today? Lynn Jones, Jacksonville Free Press News. I just want to tell you congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank you.
You hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank you.
And you did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you
it.
just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you, ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season, okay?
I appreciate
Take
it.
care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, now besides hearing Lynn Jones, who sounds like she keeps hot sauce in her purse, besides that, what did you think of what she said? Because folks are saying unprofessional. Folks are saying y'all need to get over it. That's just the auntie being nice for once in the media. As someone that's been in the media game for over a decade, what are your thoughts of what Lynn said here to Liam Cohen?
Every once in a while, this happens. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who the Jacksonville Free Press is, if that's some independent, newsletter or whatever. Because typically, this is a place for working press who are trying to ask questions as opposed to provide their own commentary to the coach or players who they're interviewing. I mean, if you're talking to them off to the side afterwards and you want to say something, I thought you did a great job this year. Great. That's typically not what you're going to get when you get the microphone. But hey, Jacksonville approved the credentials. So if that's what she wanted to do, I mean, sometimes it's like when Howard Stern's guy gets in there, this is the positive version of it. And then if you get like Baba Booey or some, Howard Stern guy in there who's, asking that totally off the wall question, like, did you have sex with that actress, last night and cheat on your wife or whatever? I mean, so this is the positive version of that.
Yeah. Man, y'all, I get it. It's a little unprofessional, but also she's a sweet woman and she seems like she can make a really good sweet potato pie. I know that. That's what I took from it. She sounds like somebody's big mama. That's it. Somebody auntie. She seems like a very sweet lady and she got credentials for a reason. So,
right. Somehow she got into the press conference. I'm sure Justin Herbert would have really appreciated that woman being at his post-game press conference saying, Hey, Justin, you hold your head high. You played like absolute crap. But you had a good season, my man.
That's Justin Herbert.
Let's bring in the fellas. Let's bring in Patrick and Matt. I see them giggling at the Lynn Jones question or comment or whatever that was. What's going on, fellas?
What's going on, man? Yeah, though that's you see it. It's one of those things. You're like, this is weird. If it happens a lot, it's annoying. There's like, if it happens once a season, who cares? Let it happen. You know, hey, it's better than Sean Miller's post-game press conference when no Texas people were there. It's like kept asking about Alabama, and he didn't know anybody in Alabama. And so they go, "What do you think about this guy?" And he goes, "Who? Oh, yeah. So our players played well." And so it's like the same difference. I mean, if in college sports, if there's nobody from the other team, everyone who plays Texas gets it because Texas will have 30 people in the room. Jim's been there asking questions. And you're like, "Hey, so I'm trying to give you a layup here, get you out of here."
Yeah. Well, hey,
appreciate y'all.
Reaction Monday, y'all have at it. We'll see you tomorrow.
Appreciate you guys.
Later, Chip.
Welcome in to Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI, and of course you, the third member of Open Gym. Text lines open 512-222-9328, and of course over there on the chat, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. And yes, Chan, little less tense today. Little less tense after yesterday, after the weekend, a little less tense here on Open Gym. I'm sure there's still a little tenseness. There's still a little, but it's gone down a little bit, Matt. Did you have a good weekend? Was the weekend good and then followed into with a really, I mean, I guess you didn't get as much sleep on a Sunday though.
Well, I mean, it was okay. It was worth it because it was a big Sunday for the Longhorns for sure. Even Ole Miss got a couple of big time guys, so it was a good day. Also booked a major trip that I'm going to be taking in February, which is going to be awesome. Good weekend. Slept in a little bit today because I didn't expect any news this morning, and I was right about this morning. So thank God, because I got to sleep to a reasonable hour. But it was a good weekend. How was yours?
It was really good. It was I went Friday. It's a little stressful in the middle. So Friday night, I said I was going out, see my buddies play at Antone's. It was a great show. Ran into Montreal Flowers there. It's good to see Montreal Flowers. It's funny. I've known his wife for a while because his wife's friends with my friend's friends and my friend's sister and every. So I've just known her. And then she's like, hey, you gotta come over here. Montreal's here at the show. So it was fun to talk to him for a minute. After the show, great show. Headliner on at 10 p.m. Feel great. Show's over like 11:15, 11:30. Say hey to everybody. I head out and they're like, hey man, come over to this place because we're gonna have another drink real quick. So come on over. I'm like, okay. So I'm going over to my buddy's place to have a drink. And as I'm driving there, I'm like a mile away. And all of a sudden at the light, my car just sputters. All the lights come on the dash. And I'm like, oh man, I kind of limp it to the rest of the way. And so I limp it to down where it's at. And I'm like, man, I cannot afford to start off 2026 with a major car repair of, I don't know what this is. The car was running completely fine and then just completely crapped out. So we hang out. I'm like, at this point, I'm going to try and turn it back on here in a little bit and see if it was just something weird. And then I can like drive it home. And so we had a drink and then I get in the car and it's just nothing. Like it goes, but there's no acceleration. So like something's wrong. So I pull it back in. I'm like, all right, leave it here overnight. I come back the next day with my buddies. Miraculously. Like we do it. We check it out. We walk up there. Like, oh, there's some wires, basically the wiring harness to the spark plugs. So we thought it was spark plugs, but then we noticed the wiring harness. Some of the wires are frayed. It's like for whatever happened, if somebody crawled in my hood at some point and kind of ate it, or just gone away with the years of time. And so they're able to patch the cables because we're going to replace it. And then we're like, oh, you have to replace the whole wiring harness, which is a massive, massive thing. And so it's like, so it ends up, we patch it, car runs perfectly fine, engine light turns off. Everything's fine and dandy. A $0 repair instead of like a $1,500 repair to start my year. And so I was like, that was the W. Had a good Saturday after that, feeling pretty good. And then Sunday, Texas just comes up and has it. So just, watch Texas win at basketball on Saturday nights and then watch the portal news on Sunday. It was like, okay, this weekend could have gone disastrously bad. And we averted it. So thank you to my buddies who came and helped me out the next day and drove me over there, and we were able to get it fixed and running. So I appreciate them very much because a huge difference of how my week could have gone versus how it did. But yeah, it ends up, Matt, that we see on Sunday, and you're texting me, I think on Saturday about Hollywood Smothers. And you're like, yeah, I mean, he's coming in, and that's a huge difference. That he was coming to visit because we know that he was committed to Alabama, but not signed. And it ends up that he comes in. And this is really the tale of the weekend is that Texas is not if you're a Texas fan, probably not very welcome in the state of Alabama right now.
No.
Because you take Hollywood Smothers, you beat them in basketball, and then the Cam Coleman was at the basketball game in Alabama, visiting Alabama, sees Texas win, and then the next day commits to Texas instead of Alabama. It just feels all over the place that they're not thrilled with what they're doing right now.
Yeah, Texas athletics is kind of stuffing Alabama athletics into a locker right now, it seems like. I was not expecting that basketball game. I was kind of keeping tabs on it on Twitter because I was doing some other stuff, and you know, I saw, oh my God, they're up by like 11 in the first half, and then it was a 1-point game at halftime. I was like, oh, you know, here we go. It was too good to be true, but they ended up pulling it out. So congratulations for them. PD was right on the money. Got to keep them under 90. And what was the final score? Like 90-88 or 92-88 or something like that.
No, we'll talk about it a little bit later because it is a great game. But yes, that one, there's really big positives out of that game and some well, I won't say negatives. There's some really big positives to come out of that game, and then some things that may be false herrings from that game. So it'll still be a matchup to matchup, but it was really good. But then we get to the portal. You get your second running back that you really want to get. You're able to get the guy, the top wide receiver skill position guy. We didn't mention on Friday and maybe early Saturday we get the linebackers.
Yep.
So it just overall a lot of wins for the weekend for Texas. Still some issues to get to, but and now you look at Alabama trying to get back at us. That I believe Christian Clark is going to set to visit with Alabama and talk with Alabama. Now that he decided once they brought in Hollywood Smothers, it's kind of this trade-off that we're now in. That we see Christian Clark decide after Hollywood Smothers comes in, what do you want me to do? I tried it, I think last year I'm going to get my opportunity. You play me a little bit early and then don't play me the rest of the season. You play me in the bowl game. I play really well. And then you still say, you're not going to, we're getting other guys to play in front of you. So it's like, what do you want me to do to prove that I get a spot? I get that. So he may be looking for somewhere where he's got a better chance to be a starter right now, or at least get more carries because you bring in two guys that are supposed to be ahead of him. I think they're slightly different players. I think Christian Clark's definitely the bigger back out of the three of those guys if we were to look at it. But disappointing. And again, look, nothing's is done with this. The old way that Sark said that once you hit the portal, you're gone. That is no longer the case, as we have seen Derek Williams enter the portal and come back out. We've seen Kobe Black enter the portal and come back out to Texas. We have seen Zena enter the portal, come back out. So there's several names that have walked and then been able to come back at this point. So it's not a done deal that he will be completely gone, but he is in the portal right now. And then when Kobe Black comes back, it means that a different DB decides to hit the portal and Wan'Dale Robinson decides to head out. So we'll start with do you want to start with the additions or the subtractions right now, Matt?
Well, just to clear up the corner thing, Warren Roberson is a guy that I think Will Muschamp really would have liked.
Yeah.
He was kind of a walking penalty. He played well against Michigan, but it seemed like he was always committing penalties, whether it be on special teams or on defense. He'll get picked up fairly quickly, I would imagine. He's a really talented player. But I think with with Kobe Black coming back, it kind of signals to me that maybe they're good at corner. They may bring in another like rotational veteran or something like that. But it kind of signals to me that maybe, your starters at corner are going to be Cade Phillips and Kobe Black, or Cade Phillips and Bo Masco. You could also put Grayson Littleton out there. Like there's enough depth out there where I'm not really too concerned about it. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in another guy, but not like a starter level type player. This is now with Kobe Black and Zena, that's now three guys that have entered the portal that have come back. if you talk about Derek Williams as well. Maybe I'm missing one if there was another one that entered and came back. But you also got great news with Trevor Gooseby coming back officially, making that announcement. Connor Robertson is back as a depth piece on the offensive line. You probably still, we'll get into offensive line talk here in a minute, but you probably still bring in a guy to compete with him for the starting job. But man, these additions that Texas has made over the last 48 hours, it really got to give you some excitement. Your patience is starting to pay off big time. Rasheem Biles I encourage everybody to go watch his highlight tape from 2025. This dude is just a walking production factory. He's fast, he's physical, he's athletic, absolute playmaker. 3 defensive touchdowns last year. I don't know if we went through his tackling numbers from last year, but he had like 3 games of 15 plus tackles, another game with in like 6 games total with double-digit tackles or something like that. Unbelievable player. He's going to play will linebacker at Texas with Tyanthony Smith. So, and then Justin Cryer is going to be a Mike linebacker. You probably bring in another linebacker to play with him in the middle of the defense, but he's kind of I don't want to say an upgrade over Bo Barnes because, I think that guy has an NFL future, but he's a guy that you won't see a lot of drop off. He's a kind of a hammer in the middle. He's going to lay the wood. He's very physical, so he's going to be a good player in the Will Muschamp defense for sure. So bring in another linebacker, but that's fine. And then I'll get to Cam Coleman in a sec, but the Hollywood Smothers thing is unbelievable. I love this because it really gives you 2 explosive playmaking backs that still have different skill sets and can play in tandem with each other. Where Raleek Brown is kind of more of a explosive, shifty home run hitter kind of a guy. Hollywood Smothers is like a more skilled, more talented Trey Wisner type. He's better between the tackles than he gets credit for. His numbers after contact are far superior to a Trey Wisner or a Raleek Brown. I think he averages something like 3.5 or 3.8 yards per carry after contact, which is really, really good. He exploded onto the scene last year, like really early in the season. He had a great first half of the season, and some injury issues kind of slowed him down in the second half of the season, which is why the production kind of dropped off a little bit. But this gives you a really, really dynamic 1-2 punch that is kind of similar to, what Texas was doing with Jaden Blue and Trey Wisner, except a little bit more explosive out of Hollywood Smothers and Trey Wisner. You're going to be able to run like 21 personnel, which is 2 running backs, and really stress a defense in that way, which is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Texas did that a bunch over the last couple of years. They weren't able to do it this year, but I kind of love that personnel package, and it's really fun to play with. So I'm pumped about that. Not only do you get a really good number 1 running back, but you also, steal them from an SEC rival and just, really, you should have seen the meltdowns on Alabama message boards. It was unbelievable. It was so funny to watch. They know that they got bodied. So that was a really big pickup. And then, do you want to keep talking about the running backs, or should we go ahead and get into Cam Coleman?
No, you talk about the running backs because I do think because this goes down to when you add Hollywood Smothers, you add Raleek Brown. So you feel pretty good. Losing Christian Clark does take you a little bit about that, the depth of the room, I think a little bit more, because you look now and you say you have James Simon, who was on the roster last year, but really didn't get much run at all. Michael Terry was on the roster last year, but didn't get any run really last year. So both those guys are coming back. You believe in a really good future for Derek Cooper, but you're not necessarily sure of the power guy still, where you think Christian Clark, you would have kind of tried to fit into that role, even though maybe he wasn't still 100% a power back. You would have really worked at him more at that role. That you feel, okay, he can do some other things, and he's a guy that I feel we can get it probably 3-4 yards with consistently, and he could break a bigger run. I don't know if you have that guy now on that roster. Again, they may not be done, I don't think they're going to go try and swing real big, but you could go out and get somebody that you just go, he's a 240 back.
Yeah.
No, you could still try and go out. You got plenty of scholarships left. So that is not the issue. It's more of you could still try and do that, or you could just say, all right, Michael Terry, you really got to do that. And Cooper, we're going to put you in the weight room today. And
so the Christian Clark thing it was kind of surprising to me because he was trending towards coming back. Obviously, getting Hollywood Smothers changed his plans. Even if he had stuck around, like you would still have 2 years of being probably either the number 1 or number 2 back in tandem with Derek Cooper in the future. So it's kind of disappointing because like you want kids to compete.
Yeah,
and he could have come in and competed. There's no reason he couldn't have gotten carries next year. So that was a little bit disappointing to see. But I would expect for Texas to go out and probably get a third back, and a bigger type guy. There's some names out there that are interesting, but you don't really know what direction they're going to go in. I would expect it to be a bigger guy, though, that could be like kind of a goal line type back or just a third running back to have in the system that you feel really good about. But I think they do feel really good about Derek Cooper. They do feel good about James Simon, who's coming back. And they do feel good about Michael Terry, obviously. So there's a lot of talent there. And also, hey, let's not forget about Jet Bush. Guy weighs 220 pounds as a freshman, so he could be if he earns some trust, maybe he could get a couple of short yardage carries here and there. But, all the best to Christian Clark. I wish he would have competed, but here we are.
I do too. I think that this is kind of the portal world, though. And when they take Hollywood Smothers away from Alabama, it just raises his value because now you look and you go, Christian Clark's one of the better running backs available right now. Like you look at what his future is and everything else. And so, all of a sudden when you go, well, at Texas, we're going to offer you this and the potential to grow and the potential to do all this and compete again next year. And he can go, or I could go be thought of as a number 1, number 2 guy at a really good program somewhere else next year and try and go get in that fold. And they're going to pay me more than you're going to pay me. And I get that concept too. So I think that the value of his value when Texas did take Hollywood Smothers, I think it just raised his value. And so his agents and everybody else may have gone, I get it. But as soon as they signed him, ironically, the money they're offering you is now you can get better money somewhere else. So that kind of plays into it.
Yeah, everything I heard was it wasn't about money, but I mean, how much of that is actually true? I don't know. I mean, I think money plays a role in everybody's decision, whether they like to admit it or not.
And the question is, it may not be about money when you go, I'm fine to be here and be competing to be the starting job for $500,000 or whatever. I don't know what the money is. But whatever that number is, I'm fine to do that. And then someone goes, well, now you can compete for the starting job at another SEC school or top level school, and they'll pay you double.
Yeah.
Well, double's way different than not caring about the money and not caring about another 50 grand or caring about double. Those are two wildly different things. So I understand it. And if he ends up at Alabama and they're paying him good money, best of luck, man. Best of luck to him. And I do think it's worth noting as well, then we go through when we go through talking about these and seeing what Michael Terry can become and seeing what James Simon can become and Bush and Cooper and all of those guys, and including Smothers and Raleek Brown, is changing to Jabbar Jaluk. And the concept of the running backs coach we had last year, where maybe the results weren't where we wanted them. Of course, a lot of that is O-line. We'll get to O-line. Don't worry. I know that is still the main concern. But the running back room in general could change into something that was a more physical running back room that they had in Florida. So how they may be training them, how they may be changing it will change a little bit with Jabbar Jaluk as well. And we'll see if he's able to come in and help that running back room get a little bit more physical.
Yeah, I think he will. I mean, we saw the way that Christian Clark himself was playing at, through the early parts of the season and when he got action. And then after spending 15 practices with Jabbar Jaluk and getting into that Michigan game, he was running pretty physically and was a really good in between the tackles runner, and he played really well. So I think that his development traits, talking about Jaluk, are second to none at the running back room. So I think that you're going to eventually find that this is going to be a running back room that is more physical than we've seen, probably since Texas had Jonathan Brooks or Roschon Johnson. Like that kind of, I believe, is going to be what they're going for going forward. Here's what is so exciting about what they're doing right now, though. I know everybody wanted them to go out and get a guy like, the Florida kid, and it's it's unfortunate that you couldn't get the big giant, physical runner that everybody wanted to have last year, that everybody thought CJ Baxter was going to be this year.
Yeah.
But what they're doing now is it seems like they're really going to be leaning into the outside zone run, kind of gap scheme running game. And it's really going to stress defenses a lot, no matter who you have back there. One guy you can put more in between the tackles. One guy is going to be more outside, but regardless, it's still going to be a very, very explosive and potent 1-2 punch. And like last year for Texas, you had Trey Wisner and CJ Baxter, and it kind of seemed like you're kind of a sluggish running game that like occasionally would pop off in big moments, but for the most part was really 3 yards in a cloud of dust for the most part. And this new running scheme and these new running backs are going to be much more like, home run threat, like explosive. They're 6 yards downfield or 7 yards downfield in the second level of the defense before you blink an eye, kind of a deal. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And here's an interesting stat too that I saw. I can't remember where I saw it, so credit to whoever found it, and I'm sorry that I can't remember where I saw it. But I think he was like, in terms of, being hit at or behind the line of scrimmage last season, Hollywood Smothers was like the second or third most hit back at or behind the line of scrimmage, and he still averaged over 5 yards carry.
Yeah.
So if you can put a decent offensive line in front of him and give him a little bit more space to operate, which I think Texas is now attempting to do as they move forward in the portal, the offensive line is coming, guys. Don't worry. But like, that's something that should give you a little bit extra excitement, because if you just give this guy some space, he's gonna take it to the house, or he's gonna get a first step. Whatever you want him to do, he's gonna be able to do it.
Yeah, and as far as him not wanting to compete, I don't think that's really the case. I think, we can look at the line and go, he felt he competed all last year. He felt he earned himself a spot by how hard he competed and how much he did in the bowl game and where he was. And then getting told you're third or fourth on the depth chart to start, and you have to earn your way back up when you go, y'all didn't give me a shot last year. And you should have, because we couldn't run the football. And I probably could have been better than some of those guys by the end of the year. Whether that's true or not is what any competitor is going to say. If you don't give me a chance to play on the field, how am I supposed to compete for the job? I get it. I'm doing it in practice, but I'm taking reps with the twos. The head coach ain't even watching me. I'm over here on the 2s and 3s, and they're not even watching me because Trey Wisner and CJ Baxter are getting those reps. So I'm back here. How the hell am I supposed to compete if I don't get to play with the best players? And I get that. And that's kind of the thought is, if you're going to put me down and you're going to go out and get portal guys that are upperclassmen again, I know I'm going to be back in the back, not being able to play with the 3s. And the head coach ain't watching me. So it doesn't matter. I could run for 700 yards and he'll go, oh, that was good, but he did it against the 3s. And it's like, so there's levels of it I get why somebody goes, I did it last year. I don't want to do it 2 more years. And if I waste another year here, then now I've got to play 2 more years to try and make it to the league and get my goals. So if I can go to a Alabama level school, that's not necessarily not wanting to compete. That's just saying I don't trust that I'm going to ever get my shot. And Christian Clark, again, somewhat true with CJ Baxter, is getting a fresh start after a season-long injury where there could have been lingering issues with the health staff or everyone that just made him feel like they don't think that I'm ready to play, and I'm ready to play. Because he, again, missed an entire season. And that is just – that's sometimes those guys do. So I don't want to question Christian Clark not wanting to compete because he did it all last year, was a really good teammate, played great in the ball game. So I don't think it's as much as not wanting to compete there, but not wanting to get pushed back down again after he felt he rise. And that's more, I think, the question of if, because like for Simon and Terry and those guys, you didn't have the chance to show out yet. And now he did. And so he thought, all right, I'm not fourth string anymore. And then he's third, fourth string again. And it could be depressing to have that stuff happen. So So for that, for Christian Clark, I think it's, that as far as Baxter, he needs to get healthier and have a full off season, and he need a fresh start. That's all. I still think he's a really good kid, a really smart kid. So
yeah, he's going to be fine at Kentucky. I don't think he's ever going to be a 20 plus carry a game back anymore.
Yeah.
But look at Kentucky, man. They're kind of killing it right now in the portal. They just got Bo Barnes. They just got CJ Baxter. They got that offensive lineman from Ohio State. Like that might actually be a problem next year. They're going to be a pretty good football team.
I'll tell you this: Will Stein was doing something because he sure as hell wasn't coaching Oregon.
They look so bad, man. But yeah, I mean, hold on. You got to give credit, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later. But you got to give credit to Indiana. They were unbelievable.
But if you look at how well they're doing in the portal and how unprepared Oregon offense looked, like, yeah, all right, maybe Will Stein, maybe that's why you don't want those coaches doing double duty in the playoffs. But it's so the running back room, I think it's an interesting poll because you felt really, really good when you got Hollywood Smothers, and then when Christian Clark went, you went, damn, all right. I felt really, really good. But then you get Cam Coleman, and it kind of changed everything because now it does open up a different level that we had more of with Matthew Golden and Xavier Worthy and we had Xavier Worthy and A.D. Mitchell. And you kind of, when you start to open up a couple more and you go, the whole point of the Sark offense is for me to have so many weapons, you cannot defend them all. And even though Ryan Wingo is a really good, talented player, there wasn't a natural double team threat on Texas last season that naturally pulled defenses so much that it made everybody else on the field better. And with Cam Coleman, you are either getting a guy that they don't do that and he could go for 200 yards, or they do that and everyone else on the team automatically gets better.
Yeah. I mean, he opens up the Texas offense in such a way that I don't know that you could have gotten out and gotten any other player in the portal at all that could have changed your team as much as Cam Coleman's about to change your team offensively. He's probably the second best wide receiver in America behind Jeremiah Smith. So, it's kind of inarguable that Jeremiah Smith is the best. Cam Coleman's next. I don't think that there's another receiver that you could say is on his level, particularly at the X position. He's tailor-made to be an X wide receiver, 6'3", over 200 pounds. Can go up and catch contested passes, fight off defenders, has a big catch radius. Go watch his highlight tape. He's unfreaking believable, and he's going to stress the defense deep. He does pretty well also across the middle and on shorter routes, but as a deep threat, he's unmatched in terms of being able to put pressure on a defense, which allows Ryan Wingo to operate much, much freer. It's kind of like the way that, and obviously to a lesser degree because these are college players, but it's kind of like the way that bringing in George Pickens opened up the Cowboys offense with CeeDee Lamb. That's how you should envision it. It's two really dominant players with different skill sets that are going to be running all over the field, causing stress on defenses. You also have to consider that maybe they're not done at wide receiver either, but they're going to be really solid in the slot. They're going to have a lot of depth. I think that they feel like they're really good in that room, but man, this is the biggest game changer you could have possibly acquired in the transfer portal, and I don't even think it's close. Obviously, you still need to go address your offensive line, which is the kind of the linchpin of what makes everything work offensively. But in terms of the skill positions, Texas is absolutely set up for a national title run, and it's not even close. Like, this is the best supported cast you could have possibly put around Arch Manning at this moment in time.
No, I mean, and we look at it. It's a George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, but like always, is T. Higgins and Jamar Chase both those guys are so much better when the other one's out there on the field because you have to decide who you're going to cover. And I think for Wingo, if he can, be a little bit more sure-handed this season, then it will be night and day for him next season. And all reports were that, when we hear this stuff about Hollywood Smothers and Christian Clark and all this other stuff, that Ryan Wingo was one of the guys leading the commitment charge and leading the recruiting charge on Cam Coleman. because he really wants to. He was like, no, if you come in, we have a chance to be great. And we talked a little bit on, I think, Thursday, Friday about leadership, right, Matt? And we're talking about the leadership room. And that is big that Ryan Wingo was not talking about, no, I don't want Cam Coleman here because that's going to knock my numbers down. And I don't know. I think to have him be able to come in and say, I really want to make this team better, and I understand unlocking the offense will make me better. Where I'll still get the numbers may not be that much better, but I will look immensely better. And you talk about in Ohio State, when we look at it and go, Jeremiah Smith opens the door for so many other guys there. And they've always kind of had that rolling rotation of we've got a really good, like, top 5 pick guy, and it makes all of our other guys who are first round talent look like top 15 guys. Mm-hmm. Because, oh my God, look at what they're going to be able to do when you open up the field for somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you kind of add to that fact that Emmett Mosley is still on this roster, who will be an absolute demon in the slot for Texas if that's where he plays. You're bringing in Jermaine Bishop, who's going to be an absolute monster in terms of yak yardage. Jalen Waddle 2.0 is what Jermaine Bishop is. He's going to be unbelievable. Yeah. You still got Khalil Lockett in there. You still got, some young depth on that team that's going to accentuate what you're going to do offensively. But having a true X receiver that can go do the things that Cam Coleman can do not only opens up the field for you, not only makes all your other wide receivers better, but what has been Texas's biggest issue offensively over the last 3 years? Red zone.
Oh, yeah.
There is not a better player outside of Jeremiah Smith than Cam Coleman to be a true red zone threat. You just throw a back shoulder fade, throw a fade ball to whatever that can go up and win and make unbelievable plays. He's going to do that. He's going to be fantastic. And I really cannot wait to watch him. He's going to be so much fun. I mean, okay. Here's what everybody should do if you want to kind of get an idea of what Cam Coleman's going to do for this offense. Go back to 2023 and watch A.D. Mitchell. That's how they're going to use him. Yeah. Except he's better than A.D. Mitchell.
Yes.
So think about that while you watch A.D. Mitchell make huge play after huge play, tough contested catches, the TCU game, the college football playoff, all of those things that he did last in 2023. That's what they're going to use Cam Coleman to do, and it's going to make them so much better. And Ryan Wingo basically being a 6'3", 200-pound Xavier Worthy. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah, and I think Emmett Mosley next year with a full year being here, because he was kind of a later addition, what he's going to be able to do opened up. And I mean, just think that like Emmett Mosley, I think, is one of those guys that you're just going to see being able to sit down in places and just be forgotten about in games and just pick you up so many great plays. So, I think that it just changes. It changes completely what you look at what this offense can do. Now, all that being said, it does still always come back to how do you build that offensive line back up? Because that's the one thing that they haven't really addressed so far. And they've had some guys come in and some guys not make it, and they really went heavy on it first. And it seems somewhat that there was a game plan to really try and solidify O-line quickly, go get some guys, get that done, and then everyone else will kind of come and follow afterwards, right? And then we can make it work. We'll have this thing. And it feels like somewhere in there, maybe over the weekend, maybe at the end of last week, they went, all right, we need to change what we're doing. We need to go get an offense that every offensive lineman is now going to want to be a part of, because they're going to now know who they're blocking for, what they're trying to do. And it feels like maybe they've changed that approach a little bit more. And they just went ahead and pulled the trigger on everything else. And now it is, we need to go finish this out with a week left and go get the guys we need to get. So it is confidence inspiring to see everything over the weekend. But, when people are asking, are they the national championship favorites and everything else? Like, no, because they still can't. They're still not going to have a 1,000-yard rusher. They're still not going to be able to throw the ball downfield because they don't really have an offensive line right now that you really believe in. Getting Trevor Gooseby back, getting Connor Robertson back, huge. huge things to get them back, because at the end of the day, if nothing else, you feel, okay, we can work with this offensive line with some of the pieces. We need way less pieces now that to make me feel like we're okay to go. Because if Goosby's gone, that changes everything. And if Connor Robertson goes, you go, well, now we need like 4 guys to feel kind of comfortable. Right now, you're like, if we get 2 wins, then you're getting a little bit closer. So you're really like 2 really good players, 2 good names will make you feel much more confident instead of probably 3 to 4 we needed before, right? So we're not far away. We still need 2 really good names and then maybe some other names behind them, but we're getting a lot closer to that than we would have been, but without those guys coming back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you still probably bring in 4 to 5 guys total.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2 starting caliber interior offensive linemen would be great. I know people have been talking about the Ole Miss offensive guard, Delano Townsend. I'm all about that if they can get him. 6'5", 330 pounds. Did a great job blocking for Kawan Lacey this year, who's kind of a similar type back, although albeit a little bit more physical than Hollywood Smothers and Raleek Brown, but he's a really explosive guy. So he knows how to block for a back like that. I know they were in the game for Mikey Bennett, I think is his name, from Yale. He ended up committing to Oregon.
Yep.
So that was an unfortunate loss, but I think that they have a plan there. They're waiting for a few chess pieces to move before they can execute that plan. But I think that by the time you look up at the end of this week, you're going to see an offensive line that you're going to be more than happy with trotting out next year. And you mentioned Trevor Goosby coming back, Connor Robertson coming back, getting Brandon Baker back was a big deal too. Yep. He was unbelievable down the stretch of the season after kind of struggling out of the gate as a first-time starter. The last few weeks of the season, he was fantastic. So maybe you bring in another tackle and you slide him inside, but I mean, that's obviously because they talked to the Michigan kid Sprague or however you pronounce his name. So that's still obviously a something that they're looking at. But if I would focus, if you can't bring in like a dominant right tackle, and move Baker inside, 4 interior offensive linemen added to this group, preferably with some power 4 experience that are pretty good players would be ideal. I know that they're still looking at the Wisconsin guy, Bruner, as well. He visited Indiana this past weekend and he did not sign or commit to them. So that's a good sign that Texas is probably still in it. So that's another guy. If you add him to the mix, you feel really, really good about it and you can continue to build and move forward. But I'd like to see them bring in probably 2 or 3 guards and a center that could compete with Connor Robertson for the starting job. I think if they do that, then by the time you look up at the end of this whole thing, Texas might have the best roster in college football.
Yeah, and that's kind of I think there's another point I'm going to make in a second, but yeah, it's bringing all those pieces. I also am really excited to get Kojo back.
Yeah, that's huge.
I think that's a really big one of remembering that where Brandon Baker was, and I know you lose a year, but over the off season, again, a lot of it's going to be what they can do and what Kyle Floyd can get them back and get it working. But getting Kojo back is really big because he was your starting right tackle last year ahead of Brandon Baker before the injury. He was winning that battle. So that's another guy you think maybe could be a little bit more ready than some other guys were. So, I'm excited about a lot of those pieces. It sucks that you lose so many developmental pieces in what you're doing, but it does show you where you want to go. I will also throw this in. It wouldn't surprise me that if we have a good roster after the portal closing on Friday, and they're still really looking to add one more name out of that portal, but it's out of one of the championship teams.
Yeah, probably.
Would not surprise me one bit if they are looking at Indiana and they are looking at Miami and saying, there might be a guy or 2 on there that hits a portal after this that they're not going to be able to pay to keep, and we may try and go after that guy. We need to make sure we're good elsewhere before we just kind of guess that we're going to get one of these guys, because you've had others that you thought you probably could get and you didn't get them. But it would not surprise me if they would be in the hunt for one of those guys as well to really solidify. Now that's much more gambling if you don't have an offensive line you feel really good about before the portal closes, or at least in that ball range, because yes, once it closes on Friday, there's still players in it. Once you're in, and then it can take time because clearly the thousands and thousands of players in the portal are not all going to be signed by Friday.
Yeah. There's probably also some other offensive linemen who have not entered yet that aren't on the championship teams that could still enter. I've got my eyes on a couple there, but we'll kind of see how that shakes out. Also, don't forget, you still have Nick Brooks on this roster. I know that he did not play particularly well at left guard last year. He's more of a natural tackle, so maybe he plays more tackle and gives you some depth there, but he's still there for now.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's still the potential that you could lose somebody else to the portal. I don't know who it could be or what it could be, but if I had to take a guess, I think that you're mostly done with the losses at this point. It just wouldn't make sense to me to see anybody else really enter at this point. Maybe offensive line. If you bring in like 4 or 5 guys, maybe one of the, maybe Kojo or Nick Brooks or one of the younger guys is like, all right, well, I don't have a chance to play next year. I'm going to go find something else. But bring in some really good Power 4 physical competition. I really like the idea of like a Delano Townsend, for example, just because he's so big and physical. And it kind of gives you the idea that maybe they're trying to add a little bit more physicality to that offensive line than they had last year. But, overall, I think that it's going to work itself out very, very well over the next couple of days.
No, I mean, look, I physicality is a big piece, and that's something you want to look at some of these guys that are being able to run the football and adding in some pieces of guys who are just a little bit nastier and want to get it. Sark and Flood have always really gone after very technically proficient, very large people. That is what they've always gone after. This is a bit of a wake-up call for both of them. And one of the bigger reasons why I believe that they will figure this out, because I know my confidence is still not at a 10 that everything's going to work out fine, because until I see it done, I'm not going to be at a 10. Just not. I've seen too many things go wrong in my life. I don't have the level of confidence. But I do know you're now sitting and going, well, if we don't fix it, first of all, we can throw the national title hopes away. We can throw Kyle Flood away. He's fired after this year. We can go we can get rid of if this offensive line isn't fixed, we can throw away a lot of this stuff, because now we have failed 2 years in a row because of one simple problem. And it's not simple because it's a problem plaguing, 80% of teams in college football and 50% of teams in the NFL. It's it's a very common thing, but you can't have it happen again and want to be one of the best teams, because who it's not plaguing is Miami, and who it's not playing is Indiana. And those two teams are playing for a national championship. And so you have to understand that you have to go get that right. And sometimes you may want to go out and look at guys that are not necessarily 6'4", 350 coming out there and just beauty body, but you go, he's like 6'2" or like 6 foot, but that dude is a mean son of a bitch. He plays like he's 6'7". That's how he plays, because he's just mad. He's mad at the world, and he goes out there and plays really big, and he'll get you those 2 extra yards. So you have to kind of judge between when you start looking at some of these guys. And I think that they're revamping it a little bit, where they're not going to go down and go get somebody who's drastically undersized, but they may go get some other guys on that interior that may be a little nastier if you have to go get somebody, because this is the one position you're not getting the top guy in the portal at offensive line, clearly, because most of those guys are gone. Now, someone else can still jump in. It's less likely you're going to get top guys jumping in at this point, because a lot of guys have already signed new contracts. At this point, a lot of people have already been locked down. So I don't expect a ton more top names to go into the portal right now. But for Texas, you still have to go out there and try and get some more good names in. And then I still would say watch out for Indiana or Miami, especially Indiana, because they have a lot of good, they got a lot of big guys out there that I could see them trying to go after them after this.
Did you know that the average age of the Indiana roster is 23 years old?
Yeah.
That's insane. It's
no, but
there are NFL rosters out there whose average age is 25.
Carson Beck's 63. We know that these guys, it's been proven. It's one of the reasons why Texas is taking this approach this offseason. It's why they're losing young talent to get older. Is because last year, as many times we said it, they were a very young team. And then people go, well, it's the end of the year. They're not a young team. I'm like, they're still a young team because they're still young men. And these other guys have been playing and have been through things. And they're just a bigger, stronger, more, mentally able to focus and drill down. They know better. They've seen way more coverages. They've seen way more different types of pass rushes and everything. Like, there's just so much to it that it's really hard to be a young team in college football now and be that level of success. Indiana, a lot of these guys came up around when Cignetti was on his rise, and then James Madison, and then Indiana. He has trained all these guys up. The question for Indiana is, how do you continue to do that after this season? Because you can build. I mean, that was the model for years. Like, this is what the model used to be, was have the older team. Now, they weren't 23, but the model was get a bunch of young guys, play them for 2 years. Your first year, you're going to be okay. Your second year, you'll be a 10-win team. And by your third year, you compete for a national championship. And that was kind of the model. But now you can't be bad for 2 years. So you can't have that model anymore. Now it's like we just have to keep replacing with seniors and juniors and, fifth-year seniors and guys who are redshirted and then injury redshirted. And then, they got another year because they played in JUCO. And, all of the things that they're getting thrown at them, you just have to be able to do all of that now. And that's why Texas is taking this different approach this offseason, I should say, is because they're looking at getting older in one offseason and not in a way of what they did where the progression wasn't enough. Also, all those older guys, they know how to train better in the offseason.
Yeah. Ole Miss just had another interior offensive lineman enter the portal that was a top 150 recruit, 6'5", 315 pounds, Devin Harper. And here's why I'm bringing this up. Number one, he's from Shreveport, Louisiana, where Texas has some ties, but
yeah.
I'm not saying Texas is going to go after him, but 5 days ago, Ole Miss announced that Devin Harper was coming back. Maybe there's some players out there who can change their minds, players who could still enter the portal late, players from these national title rosters that are going to be in play. I don't know who it might be, but I can guarantee, here's why I'm still at a 10 out of 10 here, Patrick. Number one, almost everything that we have talked about so far in terms of what Texas is going to add has come true.
Yeah.
Because they're not holding back. If you sign Cam Coleman, which they just did, that is a terrific indicator that you are all in and you are not worried about the money. And if you didn't think that just because of that move, well, how about flipping Hollywood Smothers from Alabama, getting the two, the number one player in the portal and then the number two running back in the portal in one day.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of, and the day before they got the number one running back or the number one linebacker as well. So those are the kinds of things. It's like, okay, this team had a plan to build to really make an impact in the portal early on and fill out some holes, and they're not done yet.
No, I'm with you. And the Hollywood Smothers thing is probably one of the more interesting points where you talk about too, because he is clearly not a plan A. I don't even think he was a plan C. I think he was we have to readjust. And, Jane Ball didn't go in. We need to readjust what our plan is. And that's where you go in and you go, well, Hollywood Smothers was someone we liked, but once he went to Alabama, we have to readjust. And let's just call his agent and see if he signed yet. And his agent goes, he has not signed anything yet. And you go, okay, would he be open for a visit? He's not signed. I know he's committed, but if he hasn't signed, and then they go out and call everybody they know. They go, get everybody we know signed right away. We're doing some shady stuff. Get everybody signed. You're gonna be calling our guys.
Yeah, that's why Rasheem Biles, Raleek Brown, Cam Coleman, they committed and then they signed very quickly.
Yes.
You want to avoid situations like this.
Yeah.
With Hollywood Smothers. And Texas made them pay for it because they needed to go out and get a second back, and they more than hit a home run with that. So
Yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm not saying Indiana can't do it. I'm saying there's one thing to get good. It's another thing to stay good. And it's just for anybody, that is a difficult process. So it's not a shot at Indiana or SIG or anybody else. It's literally, that's just, we know that because everyone does it. You get there, and then it's really, really hard to stay up there. And that's why Nick Saban was Nick Saban. That's why Kirby Smart was Kirby Smart. But there hasn't really been another team to win national championships and stay at that level. Like Oregon's been good. Texas has been good, but they haven't been national champions yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, staying good is going to be so much harder.
Yeah.
So much harder in today's game than it was in the past. In large part because of the portal. And, you know, here we are in 2025, and Texas has just assembled the Avengers on offense with Arch Manning and Cam Coleman and Ryan Wingo and Hollywood Smothers and Raleek Brown and all these other dudes. And you know, they also went out and made a big impact on defense. And I still don't think they're done on defense either by a long shot. I still think that they're going to get an edge rusher. I still think they're going to get another linebacker, probably another defensive back. The only position on the defense that I think they're probably done is defensive tackle. But
yeah,
I mean, they're in on Wendell Gregory, the edge rusher from Oklahoma State, who's a really, really good player. They're still in on Cade Ualave, even though he was, I think he was projected to go to Michigan. Or sorry, it's 2026. My dad just texted me. I'm still having a hard time wrestling with the year change.
Yeah, you're right. Writing's the hardest one, man. Writing is the hardest one with the year change.
It's impossible.
Oh, it's impossible. It's repetition, man. I tell you.
Yeah, and hey, maybe they'll go out and get a safety too. You know, like there's still a lot of things that they can do. I think that their focus at this point is going to be offensive line, edge rusher, and linebacker, though. And I think that you're going to see some fireworks here in the next few days.
Yeah, I'll say this as well. I think there's going to be more transfer portal additions post Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Where they have a little bit more time to work with some, especially younger guys, just at depth. Because, I mean, they're not going to be at 85 scholarships at this point. And I think they'd like to get back to, but I think they'd like to get back to 85. I mean, you can get up to 105 now. I think they'd like to at least get back to 85. And because they're just had so many departures that I think you could see after the fact that guys are still in the portal. Their numbers come down now. They're not, they're not expecting to be wooed at all this level. And you're still able to find a guy that you go, okay, they're not going to play for us next year, but they can come in. They're a good addition. They're good students. They're good kids. And we feel like we can kind of figure them out, and maybe they'll have a chance. If not, they'll transfer out again in a year, or they'll graduate in a year, or whatever they want to do. But I think you'll see Texas continually, like you'll see some more names come in. Like, you get another long snapper, you get another guys like that, where you could just go, all right, well, that guy in the portal, we called his agent and they wanted something crazy, and then he's there 2 weeks after the portal closes. Let's call him again. See where that number is now.
Yeah. It's there's going to be a lot of things that happen post portal for sure.
Yeah.
It's that's the thing that I think, and Patrick mentioned this earlier, but that's the thing that everybody really needs to remember. The deadline on Friday is for players to enter.
Yes.
Not to sign. So Hero Canoe and Emmett Mosley are great examples of that. So there's still some difference makers that you could add throughout the spring and the summer and all that stuff. So I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Yeah. So I think that there's definitely you'd still love to add top level guys. You'd still love to do that. Both national championship rosters, you're not immune to it. Miami and Indiana will have plenty of people and I know Indiana's got Mark Cuban money, and I know Miami's got plenty of people there that have money too. You're still going to lose some guys. You're going to lose a lot of young guys. We're going to get pissed that they're going to, they're not getting their spot. But they want to be part of the national championship team. And then they're going to, you get your own window at the end of it. So you'll see both those teams have some people leave, and Texas will make a good look at both of them. Much like Hero Canoe came off a national championship roster. So,
and yeah, Kane, he is still on the board. I think he was, crystal balled or whatever you call it to Michigan, but he went to Michigan and visited, and he didn't this is KD Olave, the linebacker. He went to Michigan, didn't commit, didn't sign. I don't think Texas is making it as an aggressive an offer as Michigan is, but I think that he's still very much in play. They'd love to get him. I'm sure that if he decided he wanted to go to Texas, he could call Sark right now and say, "Hey, where do I sign?" And he'd say, "Yep, come on down."
Yeah.
But I think that they have other was it Stokes in the fire or whatever that they're still looking at. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, because that linebacker room, you still look, and I think, you hope for Atkinson. The reality is, like, the linebacker room was always going to be something where you're like, you're going to lose something this offseason because you lose Anthony Hill. Anytime you lose a top player in college football, you're just going to take a somewhat step back. So how do you change up what you're doing? And part of that is you bring in a new DC like Will Muschamp, and you kind of change up what you're doing and fit the personnel that will fit into what Will Muschamp wants to do. So you don't now have that X factor player that in every single game you just go, you better watch out for Anthony Hill because he will be able to just destroy you. But you hope that you're able to grow up some other guys. And then what your best hope is you were hoping Bo Barnes had a chance to be that. He's decided to move on. I mean, again, that I wouldn't say is completely done until he signs somewhere else. You never know. And Atkinson is another guy you're hoping maybe he can come in and he'll be ready to go before we're ready for him, and that would be huge.
Yeah, I know that Bo Barnes committed to Kentucky, but I don't know if he's signed or not. Sorry, I got distracted because I just was looking on Twitter to see if anything else was going down.
Yes.
And I swear every time I open up Twitter, I see a different clip of Felix Ojo getting put on his ass at a camp. He's like, that dude just keeps getting worked at these rivals camps and Under Armour's camps and stuff. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's funny, but look, it would not be funny at all if we had spent the money to go get him either. I'll say that. But yeah, and the fact that Brandon Harris sent out the basic retort to Texas Tech.
Was that aimed at Texas Tech? I didn't know that.
I believe it's almost because it was the general manager, somebody from Texas Tech had said, like, don't not bet on Texas or something, whatever it was. And he basically said the same thing for Texas. So it seemed like it was aimed at the because he had taken a shot earlier in the week, basically saying Texas is paying for everybody. And you're like, dude, y'all are Tech. You don't get to say out of all the schools who are going to get mad at us for paying for players, you are not one of them.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's been driving me crazy on social media is it's like all of a sudden, because it's Texas, everybody's like, oh, they're just buying all their like everybody is doing that. Literally everybody is.
Everyone is trying to do this. And you get mad that Arch Manning came here and he's been helping us get recruiting. It is, but yeah, every one of these schools, like A&M and Texas Tech will both tell you they have more money than Texas and we can spend more money than Texas. And then when Texas spends money, they go, they're just spending money. Like, wait a minute, did you just tell us you had more than us?
Hey, Indiana might have a little bit of Mark Cuban money.
Yeah.
Texas Tech has all that oil money. I don't know that there's anywhere else that is going to be flexing money this portal window like Texas is going to. And that's,
no, it will.
Hey, you poked the bear last year and maybe they made a couple errors in their personnel decisions, but this year they're fixing that in a big way.
But look, I get it. I get you hate the big bad bear. I'm aware of it. And so it does not, the only time it really bothers me when they get mad is when they pretend like people don't care about Texas when they do it. And they're like, but you do. It's the whole point. Like, where's why Texas is in the headlines. That when a player comes to Texas, player chooses Texas. And when a player leaves Texas, it says Texas player chooses new school. Like, I get what you're like. I'm just telling you that's the way it is. So I get it. I can get it's annoying. We cover it. We talk to Texas fans from Texas fans. Can't get mad at us for doing it. I get it when national media can get mad. They're not talking about your guys. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And seeing, the world of I think the biggest piece for Texas, usually in the money, which is really big, is when we talk about NIL and the opportunities in that. There's oil money in Texas. There's all this other stuff, but there's so many different entrepreneurs and other people that have been here that there's a wider array of NIL that are in a lot of other schools. Now, not everywhere, not saying everywhere, but a lot of other schools where you can go in and then, okay, let me introduce you to this booster. Let me introduce you to this guy. Let me introduce you to this guy. Let me introduce you to this guy. And when you're shaking, your 20th hand and you're like, all those guys can give you money in NIL. Mm-hmm. And somewhere else, you're calling Mark Cuban or you're calling like one of 3 or 4 guys. And you're going, I want more money out of you. and there's a little bit more wide open. And it helps out. And it helps you have a weekend like Texas had and go secure the commitment from Cam Coleman. That the guys that I trust in this business, it's including my man Matt there, has said to be calm, wait. Things are not done until they're done. So with all of that talk, that's why we're still believing in the offensive line. I know the offensive line that's still the biggest worry because you do not win national championships if you cannot block and you cannot run the football. You just don't. So that is still the major concern. There are still guys out there. They're still having conversations. There's still going to be some more names going in. As Matt said, another offensive lineman from Ole Miss just put his name in that said he was coming back. Just put his name in a couple minutes ago. So it's still going. We've still got a whole nother week of this. And then after that, there will still be more additions coming after that to give us more depth and round out that roster. But it's going to be a good the confidence has to go up a little bit. And that now we're not looking and saying, oh, we're 15 players short. Now it's like, all right, now we're down to like 5. We really could use 10, but like 5 really good players left. And then like 3, 4, 5 good players left. And then we'll feel like this is a top of the line roster in college football. Now we have to also go back and look at everybody else's roster after the portal too and see where everybody's at. But we know that Texas will be in a better position than they were this year if they can get a couple more things done.
Yeah. And after this is all done, I'm going to take a big deep breath and I'm going to go on probably a couple of trips.
There you go.
But it's all going to be worth it, guys. I promise. Just keep staying patient. Everything will work out just fine. We talk about how we know Texas still needs to improve the offensive line. Otherwise, none of this is worth it.
Yeah.
And I completely agree. But also, for the people in the chat who keep saying like, we still need OL. Where's the OL? We need OL. Nobody knows that Texas needs offensive line help better than Sark and Kyle Flood. Trust me. So they they definitely have a plan there, and it will come to fruition. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get into another good thing over the weekend. Texas basketball getting the win over Alabama. We'll talk a little bit about Indiana and Oregon. We didn't talk about that because it was on Friday night, so we'll talk about that and what it means for the national championship game coming up. Tons of NFL wild card action over the weekend. The Texans play tonight, Matt. So lots to get into with all of that, and we'll keep talking portal. We'll keep talking with whatever you guys want to talk about in the chat because you guys are the third member of Open Gym. But we'll take our first break here, come back about 2.5 minutes, and keep it rolling on a Monday edition of Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
At Sleep Cycle Center, we can treat your sleep apnea in various ways. My story starts 15 years ago with the loss of my father to undiagnosed, untreated sleep apnea. And this is a very preventable disease, and treatment options are various. Millions of people across America have sleep apnea, and they fail to realize the early warning signs. Fatigue, daytime sleepiness, and snoring are the most common signs. We'll find the best solution using advanced technology, oral and epigenetic appliances, or CPAP. We offer weight loss, oral surgery, and laser treatments. Schedule your appointment today and get your sleep evaluation.
If you're looking to remodel a kitchen, renovate your bathroom, or maybe add some new life to your outdoor space, reach out to our friends at McCall Custom Homes. They are custom home builders and renovators here in Central Texas, and they've been doing it in Central Texas for more than 40 years. It's a father-son team with a ton of experience, and all of that experience is here in the Austin area. So they know what it takes to turn an Austin area home into something truly, truly special. Right now, our friends at McCall Custom Homes are offering free estimates to TSU listeners so they can come out to your place, hear your vision, they can tell you what they can do, and then you can go from there. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their website, McCallCustomHomesATX.com. Look at the gallery of jobs they've done over the last 4 decades. And then when you're ready, again, reach out to them and they will come to you. McCall Custom Homes, ATX.com, or you can call or text Mike McCall directly at 512-633-9580. It's McCall Custom Homes. We build value into your home.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations, and all of us at Audiovisual would like to wish you and your family a happy holiday season. This time of year can get a little hectic, so we want to remind you to relax, enjoy the season with your family and friends, and give us a call at 512-255-8678 for all of your home entertainment needs. This is my favorite time of the year. I love the holidays, the music, the decorations, the presents, the whole darn thing. So this year I'm asking all you listeners to help make this a special holiday for everyone. Smiles are contagious and free, so let's give them away like the government gives away your money. Let's high-five strangers on the street. Hold the door for people behind us. Tip your servers more than they've ever been tipped before. Give to a charity, or hell, give to a bunch of charities. If someone does a good job, tell them they did a good job. Pat someone on the butt. Sing in public places just because it feels good. And as always, hug your kids until they beg you to stop. Watch some games with your friends and make love to your wife or your husband. I know there's some women listening too. You can still give us a call at 512-255-8678 if you'd like to get some cool electronics. But more importantly, have a great holiday season and a fucking awesome next year.
Welcome back to Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. And, of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. Text line's open, 512-222-9328. And, of course, over there on the chat, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. Love to hear your conversation. Sark is I don't think Sark has to use any of his money to go get some people. I don't think he has to use a dime of it. I think there's plenty of money going around at Texas. What he's got to do is just go out there and coach them up again and get them prepared to play next season, and we'll be ready to go. But a lot to get into. Talked a lot of portal there in hour one because it was a big portal weekend for Texas. We'll keep talking it. If anything happens, we'll clearly report it and bring it in if we hear anything else. But did want to get into some other pieces because it was a big sports weekend all around, including a huge win for Texas in basketball. The playoffs in the NFL is happening. We saw some really good football, some maybe not so good football by some people in the NFL playoffs as well. The college football playoffs were on Friday. We're getting to our national championship game. I know it's weird because it feels like it's the off season, yet we still have a national championship game upcoming. It feels like it should have already happened. Feels like the college football schedule is screwed up and weird. And just so we can make more money, we're having to have a game that has not happened yet. We're well into January, and I don't like it. But we get into that as well. And then, all the good stuff happening around the sports world. Texans game tonight. I'm very excited. I'm hoping for the best tonight. Oh. I don't like it, Matt. This is not nearly as what you felt for Ole Miss, but I still don't like it. Having to watch a Monday night game. Why couldn't it have been, if it was on the weekend, I'd be ready for it and everything else. The Monday night part I don't like. I prefer Texans play on Sunday. And then I could have been like, all right, I'll roll with it. Don't come in on Monday. But now I got to do a show and then go try and get ramped back up to go watch some games.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the Texans tonight. How about that Rams game, by the way?
I thought you'd be. I was gonna text you at some point. And I was like, you know what? Let me just let it go. This Rams team is not playing very well right now. They got together.
They got it done. They did. I mean, if there is one player that you can count on to give you a game-winning drive in the NFL today, is Matthew Stafford. And he pulled it out again. Unbelievable down the stretch there on that final drive. But just another quick portal update before we get rolling. The linebacker from Cal that I've been nonstop talking about for the last 5 days has just been projected now to BYU. So it looks like another team is stepping up big time for him. So the position will play out fine, but it appears less and less likely that he's going to be a part of the plans moving forward.
No, and BYU's been on a lot of people, and I don't think they've got as many as they thought they would have. My guess is, this is my guess, is that if you were going to go to BYU, before you go, you call your agent and go, is there any team that's not going to get mad at me for having a girlfriend that will pay me like
Coke?
Is anybody here going to treat me like I get to do? And they're like, no, you have to sign the honor code. And they're like, you know what? Let me go see if I got any other offers real quick before I sign the honor code. And
yeah, like I'd really love to be able to have a cup of coffee in the morning and go visit my girlfriend after I'm done with practice. If I can't do that, maybe I won't go to BYU. You know?
Yeah. So I have a feeling some of these guys in the portal are like, oh man, they're offering so much money, and then they get that contract and they're like, what? Excuse me? This is like we were kids and we were in the DARE program, and they told us when we were 6 years old to sign a piece of paper that we'd never ever do drugs or drink. And you're like, yeah, this is gonna hold up in court, guys. Let's sign this piece of paper. You're right. 6-year-old Patrick's gonna make a decision that's gonna last. I'll tell you this, I'm 41-year-old Patrick doesn't make decisions that last that long. When I was in elementary school trying to get me to sign my DARE card. Come on, guys. I did want to get into that Texas basketball game. Yeah, it was weird. Texas women's team did lose to LSU, which is not super weird. Kim Mulkey's a hell of a coach. We know what she can do. She's batshit crazy, but she's a hell of a coach. So she's able to get the win over Vic Schaefer and the team. It just wasn't there. But the Longhorns picking up a 92-88 win over Alabama. And what I tell you last week, I'm not always right. What I told you last week was there's a matchup for the Longhorns that really does favor them. And if they play hard enough and they do the right things and they can get some shots to fall, they have a shot in this game because they match up well. It's an Alabama team that doesn't want to play defense, really. It's an Alabama team that doesn't have the overwhelming size inside to abuse you inside and just slow the game down and do that. They're a team that's going to shoot a lot of threes. They're a team that wants to go out there and just kind of run and gun and shoot threes on you. And if you play well on the perimeter, they're not the greatest team outside of that. So if they're not going to shoot the ball well from the three-point line, which they didn't, they start off really poorly. They end at 39%. You also have Phylon and Holloway, who are really, really good three-point shooters, go 2 for 10 in the game. And all of those pieces. And yeah, CB, I heard that Coleman was at the game. I don't know how true that is, but I did hear the same thing, that Coleman was at the game in Tuscaloosa before committing, which is a great story if it's true or not. But we see everything that happens in that game, and it came out. Now, for Texas, you did what you had to do. I know a lot of us were saying that Jordan Pope probably shouldn't play as much. He showed you why he does fit into what Sean Miller does. 28 points in that game. Really found his rhythm, was able to play enough defense in the way of what you can do against this Alabama team to slow them down a little bit, which is just run out and guard them on the three-point line. Just run them off the three-point line. We don't really care that they're going to get some shots inside, but we want to drive them off the three-point line because Alabama is a analytics more driven team, and they want to shoot threes or layups. So if you have Traore or Matthysse, a 7-footer in there who can put his hands up and make you take a mid-range jumper, that's a lower quality shot. They don't want to take it, and they were forced to take a lot of those. The defensive plan worked against Alabama, and offensively, they were able to get going. So overall, the game plan from Sean Miller worked really well against Alabama. We told you this could be a Cam Heide game. It's not like he played amazingly great, but he played 34 minutes in the game. He played as much as anybody other than Traymond Mark, who also played 34 minutes. Like, that dude was in a lot because he was not now getting – he wasn't a net negative for you, right? He wasn't getting bullied in the post, which is what some of these teams can do to them. So we look at what they were able to do. They hit free throws in the clutch. They missed a lot early, but they hit free throws in the clutch at Texas. Alabama didn't necessarily take care of business at the end, and they just took Alabama out of what they wanted to do. So defensively, they weren't great. 88 points in college football and college basketball is still not good. It's not a good defensive performance. But what I say, Matt, hold them under 90. You want to be 85. 85, you'll win this game pretty easily. 90, you can win this game. And we held them under 90, and you scored 92. The problem for Texas is this right now is really your only path to victory. I don't know that I still believe in this team to be able to go in and play really hard-nosed and win a 70-65 game against some of these teams in the SEC who are going to focus on defense more than offense. I think when they play against some of these teams that play really high-level offense, Sean Miller, that's his wheelhouse. That's what Sean Miller loves to do. He wants to run and gun with you. He wants to go fly and play a shootout. That's what Sean Miller wants. So when we see that, Texas is going to have a shot in those games to go in it. They play well enough and get the right scores, and you get a Jordan Pope to put up 28. You get Traymond Mark, who, by the way, hats off to Traymond Mark. He has been the most consistent player on Texas this season. He has found what he needs to do. They're letting him play his game. And so I'm fully on board that Traymond Mark is having a really good season, being the guy he needs to be. Not trying to do too much, not trying to do too little. Keeps you in the game early by playing hard early in this game and scoring a lot, and then kind of letting Jordan Pope, who just got hot. And that's what you want out of Jordan Pope, is you want to give him a heat check basically every game. And if he's not hitting shots, he shouldn't play in the second half. Like, just take him out. He doesn't play anymore. And if he's hitting shots, let him keep playing. But he's a defensive liability for most of the time. Look, this is not a tournament team because, again, this is a false herring somewhat. Now, maybe they'll still get better. I'm hoping. I am rooting for this team. I loved watching them play really well. I think that there's still, they can still continue to get better. Anyone we play with two bigs will beat us by 10. Like, it's just because Modest Boykatitis just hasn't been there. He's a good player, but he hates physicality. He loses the ball. He carries the ball way too low. He loses the ball a lot. He gets hacked at. He just doesn't like the physicality of SEC play or really high-level basketball play. It's not even a conference thing. It's just kind of more high-level basketball play. He is not really like the physicality in the post. He wants to play in a little bit more free space where he can make some moves, get the ball, and not have people double down on top of him. They're just doubling off him. He doesn't kick the ball out enough. I think if he improved his passing in the post and made a move and then kicked the ball out for a three, he would be an immensely better player because you couldn't crash down on him anymore. But once he gets locked in that he's going, so teams can crash down on him. And then they just kind of hack at the ball. They're not really calling it because he doesn't look in control. And they get the ball out, and he's not being able to score at the level he was. He only had 3 fouls. He didn't play a ton, but it wasn't like he was in massive foul trouble. They had to keep pulling him out of the games. Traore, though, Randy's right. So I'm trying to keep up with you while I'm talking. Traore played really well. I thought he did a much better job of just being there and not trying to do too much, where he was able to put up a body. So again, we talk about what the whole game plan was in this game for Texas was to get the guys on the 3-point line, run them off, and then have a Modest or a Traore just stand there and look imposing. And if you're a basketball player, when that happens, what you do is there's no one on me. There's a guy 2-3 feet in front of me, 4 feet in front of me. I can pull up and hit a 10-foot jumper. I'm going to take that shot. Instead of going into trouble, I'm going to take the 10-foot jumper. And they made Alabama take a ton of those. And that was the game plan. Now, the issue is you play some different teams with other big men, and Traore's not able to kind of get out defensively without having a big man come behind him and get the ball back and dunk it on us over and over again, or without a big man who can come in and rebound the ball on the back end and put it back. There are flaws to that game plan. It just, with Alabama, they were able to get it done because there wasn't other big body guys there. So when we play other big body teams, it's still going to be a major problem because Modest isn't quite there yet. Hopefully another year, he'll be able to put on some more muscle mass. They'll be able to get him a little bit more ready to the American game than he's at right now. But he plays. Dalen Swain still playing really good basketball. He's not consistent enough right now. That's the biggest thing I'll say is the difference from Traymond Mark last year to this year is Traymond Mark is becoming much more consistent. I think he's been 20-20-18 his last 3 games. Without looking, I think he's 20-20-18. So that's what I need. I need to know someone on this team can consistently provide me with something. Instead of Jordan Pope, who's going to put up 28, and in one of the games this week, we'll have under 10 points. At least one, because we just know that's what Pope's been for pretty much his whole career, but especially at Texas. He just hasn't been consistent because he's too much of a heat check guy. He was hitting threes off of 1 foot falling away. That is not a recipe for success. There's one dude in the world who can do that in Steph Curry. One dude that if he does that, I don't get mad at him doing it. So I think when we look at it, they were able to get it going. Jordan Pope was able to get that offense going, and it's awesome because, again, this is a team that I'm like, if you don't win these games where you have favorable matchups and things to do, you're not going to win any games. You have to win some of these when you did, and you did. So credit to where credit is due. You played a team that has more talent on their roster than you do. Now, you matched up pretty decently with them, but they're a much more talented team than you. And you came out, you fought. They maybe didn't respect you early. And so even though they did have a lead early and they kind of let it go, they weren't behind at halftime where they had to play catch up. They were able to tire out Alabama a little bit earlier. You did everything you had to do in that game to make me believe that you are headed in the right direction right now. You're aiming the right way of getting better, and some of these players are starting to learn and get in better places. How much that'll translate going into this week is questionable, because the matchup really was they don't have the type of player that will just destroy Texas. They had some guys, if they hit their threes, we would have lost by 30. They didn't, but that's defense. That's the effort you wanted to see. That is what that's what Sean Miller talked about. So credit where credit is due for Texas basketball here. They showed that there is heart on this team, that there are guys willing to put up effort, that there is a chance that this team is not bottom barrel team this year, and that things can be headed in the right direction. Now it is, can you continue to evolve? Because that's your biggest flaw right now going forward is we know what you are. We know what games you can win. Can you adjust to other teams to play against them at that level? Or is it only really one style you can play? That's what we'll have to see this week.
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with what they were able to do. I'm kind of with you. I don't know how sustainable 28 points from Jordan Pope is when he's hitting threes off of 1 foot and all this different kind of things. But it seemed like the benching and the kind of message that that Sean Miller was trying to send after that last game, in the last couple of games, I guess, kind of resonated with a couple of players. And I think that probably played a big role. So props to him for getting his guys to do what he wanted them to do and to play well. It just seemed like, I kept waiting for the straw that broke the camel's back in this game and for Alabama just to run them out of the arena, but they never did. Texas competed the whole way through. They played hard on both ends of the floor. They played with a lot of now, what's the word I'm looking for? They play with a lot of heart, I guess, is the way I'll put it. And that's good. Like that's something that you haven't seen from this team at a lot of points this year. It does sort of seem to me, for the most part, that Texas kind of plays up and down to its competition sometimes. When you got a big-time matchup like Alabama or UConn or Duke or NC State, they've played really well. When you've had some other matchups that aren't as high profile, I mean, we can throw the Tennessee game out, but they have not always showed up to the moment and played with a lot of energy and all those things. Cam Heide, I thought, was awesome in this game. Just the energy that he played with, the 2 steals that he had, everything that he was doing was pretty impressive. Overall, just a great performance from the team. I'm with you. I don't necessarily know that it's sustainable, specifically if they play a team that's got a couple of big guys they can throw at you. But hey, it seems like they're starting to make some progress at the right time. You couldn't have waited any longer to start to make progress. So it's good that they made some this week or this weekend, and hopefully it continues forward, and we'll see where it goes. But props to Sean Miller for getting these guys ready to play in a big time game.
Yeah,
and sealing the Cam Coleman commitment. By the way.
Sealing it as well. And Randy, I heard that the announcer said that and I don't know, like the way they said it. I know how these things are said a lot because like Big Schaefer said this to his team 100 times. If you don't want to do what we say, then you can walk out that door. And like it's a saying that a lot of things say. So I know he said he could arrange for their departure. Everything. I don't think it would be Jordan Pope. Maybe it was. He seemed to be really, really big on Jordan Pope this whole season. So I don't think there's really any flaw with Jordan. Like, I know he benched him, but Jordan Pope's played like 30 minutes a game most of the season. I don't think that there's necessarily – he likes Jordan Pope's offensively. Because, again, Sean Miller – I think in a perfect world, Sean Miller would never have to look at the defensive end of the basketball court. I don't think he gives a damn about that. That's my big problem with it. I don't think he cares about it. So, like, last game, it was well because they basically played a really – easier style of basketball. They didn't defensive basketball. They didn't have to go as far as they had to defensively. And against some of these other teams, you're not going to be able to do that. But I think when we talk about that, Matt, of him being able to, get the guys to play harder and play well, is they had a really good game plan. That the game plan wasn't, hey, man, you need to get fine line to not score any points. It wasn't that. It was you need to run them off the 3-point line, and then we're going to play team defense behind you. But you need to run all these guys off the 3-point line. And that's an easier style of basketball than when you play a team where they go, well, they're not the best 3-point shooters, so they're just going to go inside. And you go, all right, we don't really have an answer for this one. So I think that the game worked where they were able to come in there and get that done. So, again, I'm really hoping that this opens up and that, they are able to piggyback off of the win by showing now you've seen what your effort can do, because it definitely was effort. It still takes effort to run people off the 3-point line. It still takes effort to get out there and, and defensively do that. So if they're able to build on that, that's really going to be good. The whole telling someone to leave, it wouldn't surprise me if that was somebody else. Like, I think there's other guys that would be more likely to be than Jordan Pope. I know Jordan Pope is not hated, but disliked by fans because he's never lived up to what he is. And he plays 30 minutes a game. But if I'm a coach and I'm mad at a guy and tell me he can leave, I'm not playing him 30 minutes a game. Like, I'm playing Simeon Wilcher a hell of a lot more. I just am. And I know he's not probably getting his best chance to win, because if Pope can score, again, Sean Miller wants to win by scoring 90. That's not the most consistent way to win if you're allowing your other team to score 80. So they're going to have to build on that defense. My guess is in the offseason as well, they're going to bring in a better defensive assistant coach to kind of help run this defense a little bit more, because Sean Miller has learned you cannot do what they're doing in the SEC. So my guess would be that will be a plan that they do. But so we'll see. We'll see what they're able to do. They play at home this week against Vanderbilt. They play this weekend against A&M. I haven't watched a lot of Vanderbilt. I know they've been playing well. I've seen A&M more. I think that's another game that maybe is winnable. And the fan mood at the Moody Center, it's going to be better. I think we'll see how many people show up during the week for Vanderbilt. It's a ranked game, so you should get some, but I don't know how much that's going to get people and draw them in to go see Vanderbilt. But it's going to be, for Texas basketball, it's a very positive thing. It's a very positive thing right now, because this season, if you lose that one, it's like, all right. And if you get like, especially after having the lead, and so you've now lost to Mississippi State by losing a lead, and then lose to them by having a lead, that's just depressing. And then it is starting to get pretty depressing. So very good win. Very happy to see it. Part of the good weekend, Matt. What was not as fun is watching Indiana go rough shots over Oregon. Like, offensively going rough shot over Oregon. 56-22. This game was over at halftime. It was 35-7 at half, Matt. It was just never in question. Dante Moore starts off with a pick. Just isn't really able to get it going until maybe at the end. They score, it's a couple touchdowns in the second half, but they never really get it going. And Indiana just never stops. Their lowest quarter was 7 points in the third quarter. That's the one quarter they got outscored 8-7, Matt. And then the rest of it was just all day. And like, the funniest part is Fernando Mendoza, only 177 yards.
Yeah.
But 5 touchdowns. The 5 touchdowns might tell you the story more than the 177 yards.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to have questions. First of all, before I say any of that, actually, props to Indiana. They're the best team in college football. They've proved it throughout the playoff. They absolutely out-execute every single team that they play every single game. They're more physical. They're more fundamentally sound. They do everything better than everybody else right now. Part of that's because of the age of their roster and the experience on the roster, but also they're incredibly well coached. So all props to them. They deserve to be where they are. But I am starting to have questions about Dan Lanning. This is the second time that he has faced a team that is elite in the portal. I mean, in the playoff. And the second time in a row that he has gotten absolutely boat raced and run out of the stadium. Ohio State last year just absolutely dismantled them and embarrassed them. This year it's Indiana. And I know that they beat Texas Tech and they looked really good against Texas Tech. It's Texas Tech. They wouldn't have beaten anybody ranked in the top 9, in my opinion, in the first round. So that is kind of an issue to me. Like, getting absolutely bullied and embarrassed in the playoff 2 years in a row is a major red flag for me. You got to feel for Dante Moore a little bit, because he was just in a blender that entire game. He had no help on the offensive line. He was constantly under fire. He was rattled. He was making bad decisions. If he had number 1 NFL draft stock heading into that game, it is not there anymore, in my opinion. I don't think that there's a single NFL team that is going to watch the way that he played in that game under duress and be like, oh yeah, he can lead our franchise for the next 10 years.
Oh, there is a team.
Especially if we have the number 1 pick. Like,
number 2 pick though. And you know what team really likes him? You know, would like him?
The Giants.
The Jets, Jets.
Yeah. He needs to come back for another year just for that fact. He doesn't deal with pressure particularly well. But I don't think that there is going to be a more trend-setting matchup than you could possibly see than Miami and Indiana, because they are just the 2 most physical teams in the playoff. They're the 2 most dominant teams in the trenches, and they are the 2 meanest teams that you're going to come across. And I think this is actually going to be a really good game on Monday. I really do. I still think Ole Miss should have beaten Miami. We really kind of screwed the pooch at the end there. But they're going to be able to go blow for blow and match up physically with Indiana. I'm still going to give Indiana the edge, because I think that they're not going to make any mistakes, and Miami's probably going to make a few mistakes here and there. But, man, Indiana is so impressive. And I've been talking a lot of shit about them this year. I honestly, I really have, because I hate them. I've called them overrated multiple times. Consider this me eating crow, because I have never seen a bigger ass whipping in a playoff game than I saw.
No, in a semifinal too.
Yeah,
it wasn't like a first round or something like that. It's a semifinal.
Yeah, I mean, Oregon might as well have been James Madison or Tulane.
Yeah,
they had absolutely no shot. And here's the thing that's bothering me though about all of this, and I think it's absolutely blasphemous that people are trying to push this narrative. Indiana being compared to 2019 LSU is absolute folly. It is so terribly stupid. That LSU 2019 team would beat this Indiana team by 30 points. It would not be a close game.
I mean, I wouldn't put those two. That, I mean, I get it, but I think that offense was better. Like, I get this offense scored no problem and everything else. I just don't think that team was really, really good. We almost beat them too. Almost beat them.
Yeah, and Penn State almost beat Indiana. How miraculous would that have been? But like, I think people forget Joe Burrow had over 6,000 yards of total offense that season. 65 touchdowns. Just him. There were 30 NFL players on that roster. So that comparison,
yes,
that I've seen ESPN putting up, it's so stupid. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. No, it's the ass kicking was similar, but I do not think the team is similar. But I think that also goes to say what Matt was saying earlier. That was what I've kind of talked about before. It's like, I don't necessarily trust Oregon and Dan Lanning in those big games. I haven't seen them come away and look really good in those big games before. Not enough times. I just don't really trust him. Now, he's a young coach too. He can start to figure it out more. But it's always those guys like Dan Lanning, we know worked up he is and everything else. And when you're trying to bring all energy and you go play against a really fundamentally sound, don't mess up team that just comes in and they're level-headed and they just come to beat you down, you can have all the energy in the world. When you run into the brick wall, you lose energy really, really quickly. And the perfect example of that is let's go out there, let's go hit him, and then it's pick six. And Indiana just walks back up, and you're like, well, now all the air's out of the room. That whole energy you tried to bring out, it's like it's all gone now. And now you're playing in a place that's mostly Indiana fans, and everyone's rooting against you. So at the end of the day, it was disappointing to have it because we've had so many good games, and the Miami Ole Miss game was so good, and you're just hoping for this one to be a really good game, and it was not. So we move on and then hope that Miami goes and puts up a really good fight, because there is a world where Indiana wins this one by 21, because that's just how they've been playing in this playoffs. And Miami's played really well, but Indiana has just looked world beaters. Side of the bracket may have been easier. That's anybody can make that, but it doesn't matter, because easy or not, you don't beat semifinal teams the way they beat Oregon. You just don't.
Oregon game was over in the second quarter.
Yeah. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying anything negative about what they've done, because they have been amazing. So they've done everything put in front of them with flying colors. So, yeah. And that's the question, right? It's like, all right, you're going to have you probably win a national title, which is, insane that Indiana could win a national title this year. It tells everybody exactly how different the world of college football is in 2026. But on the flip of that, it just means that the old powers are still all going to be coming on, being like, well, better fix this. we don't like this. So there's always some teams that are going to break through and have them. And I think Cignetti's done a wonderful job there of what he's done, other than being a complete coward and canceling Virginia. That is a complete coward move still. Other than that, really great job. But yeah, we'll see if he's able to get it done and win this game and be able to win the national championship. Over in the NFL, Matt, we did see the Panthers put up a fight. So back and forth game, one of those games that was all fireworks at the end and just going back and forth, and Matt Stafford shows out by the end and shows why he is ready to lead those drives. And Bryce Young just was a little, no other word for it, young to be able to go out there and continue to battle back and forth with a Rams team that's just a little bit more experienced and knew where to be. They were able to get the ball out, get the ball downfield the way they wanted to. Rams defense was able to hold the running attack of Carolina down enough as well that we just didn't. Rico Dowdle did nothing in that game.
Yeah, they ran Chuba Hubbard 13 times and Rico Dowdle 5.
Yeah, and he averaged 1.8 yards per carry in those 5.
I don't understand why they went back to Chuba Hubbard to begin with, though. That was a little odd to me. But hey, hats off to the Rams. Hats off to Stafford. Puka Nacua looked unbelievable in that game as well. Everybody needs to go back and watch that throw that Stafford made on the final drive, by the way, because it's one of the best throws you will ever see. It was like unbelievable, like no look pass while he's getting hit. But he's so freaking good, man.
He was. And then we see in the next game, Matt, because first of all, the Panthers, hats off to the Panthers for competing in that game, because they were 10-point dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And so for them to be in it, great effort by the Panthers to be in that game and play hard on it. I think their future is still pretty bright if they can get it together and add some more pieces and continue to grow. But Dave Canales is a hell of a coach, because talent-wise, I don't think it's close. Like, I think the Rams are way more talented of a team. But they were able to get the best out of some of their guys and get them to play really well. Then we saw the Bears, and you talk about great passes. Caleb Williams had some ridiculous, weird, like off a back foot throw downfield, make a 4th down completion passes in that game as well. You saw all the pieces of Caleb Williams of why people said he was the number 1 overall pick. Like, you saw in this game those moments why Jordan Love was a sit and wait quarterback and Caleb Williams is he's too talented not to play. Now, on flips of that, Jordan Love maybe makes some better decisions. 2 interceptions by Caleb Williams. There's different worlds of both those, but you see, like, talent-wise on a field, end of game, who's going to put it out there, and Caleb Williams just went all for it and was able to come away with the victory in that game. Ben Johnson is, I mean, that dude is a heck of a coach and does not care after the game. Yeah, let me say it again. F the Packers. Doesn't care one bit about it. But I don't know how much either one of these teams has a real shot to make a Super Bowl run. But Matthew Golden, by the way, at the end of that game, Matthew Golden, you saw Matthew Golden clutch moments be Matthew Golden. I think he played better than he probably played all season in the clutch and making some big plays. That touchdown run where he breaks a tackle and gets down, all of that was so big. But hats off, man, the Bears getting a huge victory. And Ben Johnson just being like, I get it. Matt LaFleur's future is still in question. Meeting with the team, I believe today, maybe tomorrow. He's meeting with the team, and we know the rumor right now is that they could possibly – there is a concept that Green Bay could say, Matt LaFleur, move on. We're going to get John Harbaugh, and we feel he'd be a better person to get us into the future of being a really standard, we believe Harbaugh could be our coach for the next 10, 15 years, and we don't know if he will be. So there's talks of that, and then LaFleur would go to Miami, is the rumor there. So all of that could still happen here in the next couple of days. I wouldn't say it's for sure. I mean, that's a pretty big move to move off of a coach who's done pretty well. But they were 9-7-1, which I think was under expectations for what Green Bay was going to do. But yeah, overall, Matt, seeing the Bears get a win here. Green Bay, of course, also Micah Parsons not playing. He got hurt. So that's another huge piece they can say defensively. I think if Mike is there, maybe it's changing. But what a game by Caleb Williams down the stretch to make some just ridiculous throws, some ridiculous play calls, and get the win.
Yeah, he's really coming into his own, and you got to give credit to Ben Johnson for getting the best out of him. It's mind-boggling to think that the Bears are in a better place than the Cowboys right now after the last 15, 20 years of football. But here we are, and the Bears look like they can make a move in the playoffs. I don't know. I guess the Texans and the Steelers are the last game, so it's Bears-Rams. That's going to be an unbelievable football game. If you're going to watch one of the NFC games, that will definitely be the one to watch out of the two. But it's that's going to be a tough matchup, man. I mean, the Bears are playing unbelievable football right now. Caleb Williams looks like a superstar. I feel bad for the Packers because I thought that they were set up for a big run, and the Micah Parsons thing just kind of derailed them and broke them. They still need another receiver. I agree with CB. I think they misused Matthew Golden all year long, but they need another weapon out there for Jordan Love. But hey, if LaFleur moves on, then I have no idea what they're going to look like. Pretty crazy that you can go all in like that and trade for Micah Parsons and then lose in the first round in the wild card.
Yeah, very easily. Very easily things turn around. Yeah, now. So yeah, we're in the second round of the NFC playoffs. We do have the Bears and the Rams. Rams favored early by 3.5 in that game. Then on Sunday, we see the Bills just come out and find a way to get it done. The Jags have played well all season long, but the Bills and Josh Allen, and I should really just say, and Josh Allen. Josh Allen is the dude. 2 rushing touchdowns and a passing touchdown. Just makes a difference where he shows his experience. The Bills just a more experienced team able to come through. And again, at the shootout at the end, 14 points by both teams, 28 points scored in the second half or the fourth quarter of that game. Is what we see of this is why experience matters in those moments.
I mean, I believe I pointed that out. Was it on Friday? That I thought the experience was going to matter in this game, and it definitely did. I'm never going to bet against Josh Allen ever. Like
how is Trevor Lawrence on the other side?
Especially when it's Trevor Lawrence on the other side. But like when Josh Allen is on, I don't know that he's stoppable. I mean, obviously he needs his team to help him out around him, but man, he's really impressive. I'm happy for the Bills. Maybe they can maybe they can make it through. The Broncos are really good, and that defense is really good. But again, if it comes down to which quarterback plays better, I'm going to take Josh Allen over Bo Nix any day of the week.
Yeah. So after seeing that one, we move on, and the 49ers. Good job, guys. Hey, Kyle Shanahan, great round of applause. Anytime you knock out the Eagles, lose George Kittle in this game, which you're like, okay, they lost George. It's over now because you just already super injured, and now George Kittle goes down. There's no way you're going to be able to win it. You get just really good play calling that get the offense going a little bit more, get that touchdown, the Jawan Jennings touchdown pass to Christian McCaffrey, who makes a hell of a catch. When he throws that, I'm like, oh, they just missed it. And Christian McCaffrey recovers on it and makes a hell of a catch to be able to come in and get the win. That is a monster play for Kyle Shanahan, for the 49ers, and probably for the Eagles as well, who underperformed all season long, just kind of won these games a little bit, and Kyle Shanahan found a way to knock off the Eagles at their own game and get a fluky win to be able to stay alive. I don't know how much longer you can expect them to do anything. You're going up against the Seahawks minus George Kittle. I don't really see a way they have a way to win that. Seahawks favored by 7 right now, but Shanahan's done it over and over again. And CMC is still a beast.
Yeah, he is. He's unbelievable. I just could not be happier that the Eagles are no longer going to be on television. I hope that they fire Nick Sirianni. They probably won't. But I hope that the Eagles never win another game in the history of their franchise. Props to the 49ers for overcoming it, but man, if we had talked about this game a year ago, like if we had projected this game before the season, like, 49ers and Eagles are going head to head in the playoffs, you would have thought that it was going to be Saquon Barkley rushing for 175 yards and Christian McCaffrey running for 175 yards, and it was going to be the two of them. But San Francisco just found a way to win, man, and props to them. I could not be happier about that. There is not a team in sports that I hate more than the Philadelphia Eagles. There's not one.
That's right, Hair the Dog. Anytime the Eagles lose, America wins. The only thing I don't like about it is now they're going to try and go get an offensive coordinator, like most likely, because good Lord. So, hey, Mike McDaniel, Philadelphia sucks. There's no reason to go there. No reason whatsoever. Houston's a much cooler.
He's interviewing for the Lions job tomorrow. Hopefully Dan Campbell just walks in, puts a boatload of money down on the desk, and is like, you were not leaving here without signing this contract. And he's like, all right, I don't want him in Houston. Anyway.
I still want him in Houston, man. Come on.
Anything but Philadelphia.
Anything but Philadelphia. Yeah. And finally, last game we saw last night, Patriots handle business. Chargers do what the Chargers do. And we saw Justin Herbert once again. And look, I get it. That offensive line is garbage. And he didn't have time all day. So it's not fully on him, but the fact they couldn't get anything going all game long, the Patriots were just kind of able to slowly but surely whittle away, score some points, win that game. I thought the Patriots defense looked really good. I think Drake May looked fine, but it wasn't like a staggering performance of, wow, what a win. It was more just you found a team that had no offensive line and you were able to really abuse it.
Yeah. This New England story just keeps getting better, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of nauseating. I thought I was going to like it, but I don't. I really don't.
It's Boston sports fans. At the end of the day, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot why I don't want these guys to win at anything, because they are so annoying.
Mm-hmm. But hey, I mean, are we tied on our picks now?
We are tied again. We came out tied at the end of it. I thought I was going well, but yeah, the Patriots tied it back up, so we are tied right now.
Hell yeah. All right. I'm back in the game. I'd fallen behind there for a little bit.
You fallen behind, then we tied up, then I got ahead again, and now we're tied again. So we will go through. I want to take our last break real quick before we get to the very end of the show. talk about the Texans a little bit more because that game is tonight, and we're not going to put on our projections, but we'll make our predictions on that game when we come back in just 2.5 minutes and wrap up the show. Get us ready for the Texans here in about an hour and 20 minutes or so for the Texans game, and get ready to send you into the Monday evening here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Hi, I'm Hayden Covert. Welcome to Covert Buick GMC of Bee Cave, your home in the Hill Country for new and pre-owned Buick and GMC vehicles. With beautiful inventory arriving daily, including the GMC Yukon, Sierra 1500, and Buick Enclave, you'll be certain to find the perfect vehicle at an incredible deal. Our service department is also open for all your vehicle maintenance needs. Visit us today for a test drive. Covert, born and raised in Austin. We are professional grade.
Altstadt Beer, the best beer that you can find all throughout the great state of Texas. Y'all know I've been a fan of Altstadt for years now, and if you try it, I think you will be too. If you've already tried it, you know exactly what I am talking about. Altstadt is brewed locally in Fredericksburg, but available all over the state of Texas. So if you're tuned in Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, it does not matter. You can find Altstadt at a local grocery store or liquor store. They've got a bunch of different brews, something for every beer drinker out there. The lager, the Kolsch, those are their two flagship beers, both award winners. They are fantastic. The Altstadt Light sacrifices on calories but does not sacrifice on the taste. They've got great pills, tons of great seasonals as well. I'm telling you, one sip and you won't go back to the other beers you've been drinking in the past. It is the official beer of BK. It should be the official beer of you as well. It's Altstadt Beer. No impurities, no regrets.
Hey y'all, I'm Camille McKay.
And I'm Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations.
The old man and I are here to give you your summer weather forecast. It's hot.
That's right, kid.
Which means it's time for pool parties, grilling burgers, and taking a beach vacation, right?
Well, I don't know about a vacation, but Audiovisual brings more heat than any tropical destination.
It was worth a shot. I'll settle for some outdoor speakers.
You know, Audiovisual can do a lot more than that. We provide outdoor video screens, audio systems, landscape lighting, even solar shades for your patio to keep the Texas heat at bay.
Well, I'm sold. Let's wrap this up. I'm ready to lounge on a floaty and listen to some smooth jazz.
Well, that sounds wonderful, but some smooth reggae is the way to go this summer.
Good thing we can listen to both with the Sonos sound system. I call dibs on the floaty, though. Peace out.
Kid, wait a second. Give us a call at 512-255-8678 or visit us at avconsultations.com. That's 512-255-8678.
Welcome back here to Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Wrapping up here on a Monday afternoon. Appreciate you guys hanging with us. Matt, tonight, my Houston Texans taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think most people are rooting for us in the simple fact of they don't want Aaron Rodgers to win. I think most people are on that wavelength with us, that it's not so much like the Texans are such a great story, or we really want to root for this team, or we like D'Amico Ryans, or man, look at that pass rush and that defense. I don't think that is much. I think just the sole fact that people are like, you know what, I'd prefer to just not have Aaron Rodgers be in the playoffs anymore. I think that is the reason. Houston is favored by 3 on the road in this game. This is going to be, to me, this is the question. Does Brian Cayley know how to go in and coach well enough in this situation? Or does Mike Tomlin and that defense just completely shut out and the Texans score under 10 points? I think if they're able to score some points, they win this game. But that's the thing, is like, can the Texans offense, I think the defense will be fine, but you say Pittsburgh's still probably going to score 10 points at least. So DK Metcalf coming back, looking to be able to go do it. I think that it feels like this like you just have to be able to do something offensively.
Yeah, I don't know. I get worried about, and Randy's right. I get worried about the physicality of the of the Pittsburgh defense against this Texans offense. But hey, they've been playing well lately. They've been on a hot streak. The defense is extremely legit, best defense in the NFL still, in my opinion. I just I have a hard time being confident about the Texans offense. It's kind of like
play.
Yeah, it's kind of like it was kind of like the Ole Miss defense for me this year in college football. Like it's every game I was like, oh God, I hope they don't score 40 on us. And the opposite of true is for the Texans. Like, oh God, I hope they can just score like 24.
I know.
And hopefully they can. I don't think anybody in America outside of the city of Pittsburgh is cheering for the Steelers. So Houston is America's team tonight, and I hope they pull it off. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
No, it's going to be. It's like, can the offense, I think getting Woody Marks back is a really big thing to try and get any sort of running game going. In a physical game, can Nick Chubb help you out at all? You know, if you're going to be just trying to be physical with him, can Nick Chubb try and get you 3 yards a carry? I don't expect more than that, but 3 yards, man. Can you get us that? I think it is a low-scoring game. The over-under's 38.5. Should tell you that's a pretty low-scoring game. Over-unders usually don't get much lower than that because it's hard to pick it much lower. But definitely an interesting one to see tonight. Our meathead of the day, though, Matt, ties into this. I don't know if you saw this video, but somebody on Instagram or TikTok or somewhere, I guess, had their daughter pick all the games this week. And they put out, this is the picks for the weekend. And it's giving Texans fans hope, man.
Oh man, she's on a hot streak.
He's on a hot streak. So this video is being spread by Texans fans that they are a lock because this little girl has picked every game wrong this weekend.
I mean, it's really hard to go, what is it, 0 for 5 or 0 for 6?
Yeah.
But man, she should continue to pick throughout the like he needs to whoever filmed this needs to continue to do this for the rest of the playoffs.
That poor girl. It's like, hey, your video is going viral. Why? Because you were terrible at your picks.
Are we going to make our picks for this game? Like not towards our pick thing, but
yeah,
are we gonna
let's make our pick. What do you got in this game? Houston's favored by 3 on the road. Let's see what the weather looks like over there.
So I think that
33 degrees.
I think this is going to be a low scoring game. I think it's going to be an incredibly physical game on both sides of the ball. I think that Houston has the better quarterback. I think Houston has the better defense. I'm picking Houston to win 20-19 on a field goal late.
Ooh, Kaimi Fairbairn.
Aaron Rodgers.
Kaimi Fairbairn, I believe, led the league in field goals made this year. But Kaimi Fairbairn has been playing great as a kicker for the Texans. And you don't necessarily want that stat of most field goals made because it means you don't get in the freaking end zone. But I believe that's what the line was. I'm worried about this game. I'm gonna go. Let's go 13-10 Texans. I think this thing is a dogfight. I think both punters are going to have to get oxygen in this game. That's going to be out on the field so much. Look, Kane, I get it. The Steelers blow it in the first round all the time, and the Texans have been decent in the first round historically. So if we look at it that way, I think Rodgers is a good player. I don't know if they have the weapons against this Texans defense. Now, Rodgers does do one thing well. He reads defenses really well. He gets away from pressure well. I don't know how many sacks he's going to take in this game. But if they can get to him and throw Aaron Rodgers off, it'll be interesting to see how he responds as a wily old veteran. Wily old, maybe married veteran. All right, we got to get out of here. We were going to watch that game. We'll talk about that tomorrow and hopefully more good news from the portal. With less tense, Chan, you're right. Less tense today on the show for sure. So we will talk more about that and hang out with you guys again tomorrow, 4 to 6 p.m. But until then, be kind, be safe, keep your underwear clean. We'll see you right back here tomorrow for more from Open Gym.